Captain's Log, the podcast devoted to discussions and insights into the supernatural, occult, and all-around strange happenings of our world.
I think there's someone in the
Our
house
goal?
with us.
To entertain and disturb, perhaps like no one has before.
I warn you, this could scare you, as the sound bothers me to listen to. It has always haunted me. What you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed. Did you hear that?
Werewolves howl, phantoms prowl, Halloween is upon us now. Stardate 10/31/2020. Hello everyone and welcome to a very special episode of Captain's Log, where we cover supernatural and occult topics all the time on this podcast, but today is especially special because it is Old Hallows Eve. So we decided to try something different for this episode. This episode will feature a guest appearance by friend of the log, Ethan. And a much different outline than normal, something more in line with a variety show style special rather than our regular storytelling format. We hope that you enjoy this episode. We certainly put a lot of work into it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, turn those lights down low. Turn your headphones up and prepare to experience a trip into the supernatural, occult, and all-around strange happenings of our world on this All Hallows Eve. This is Captain's Log, Tormenting Tales from the Pod.
Thunder noises.
Spooky.
Was that me?
All
I
right.
assumed the asterisks were for what I was supposed
Yeah,
to read.
that was for you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good.
All right, our first section is called What Scares Us. Maybe all the schemes of the devil were nothing compared to what man could think up. Fear is a very powerful emotion. It can cause us to cower and hide from things that go bump in the night, or we can use it to our advantage to enforce our will upon our fellow man. One thing is for certain, that as humanity has evolved and adapted to the world around it, so have our fears. With each step forward into this new world, we have created new horrors to terrify the mind. From things as simple as ghosts and ghouls, to demons and sorcery, to even killers and psychopaths.
From things as simple as things that aren't real? Is that what you just... From things as simple as the dead rising
Listen, you
again?
skeptic son of a bitch. I don't need this right now.
I just... you're like as simple. The simplest thing you could think of is the dead dying and their consciousness coming back on a different plane of reality that can kind of affect our world, but not really.
Hey,
that
man,
was
that's
the simplest thing you could think of.
If you don't get that, then you're a dummy.
The most
So-
complicated thing you could think of was a guy who got hit on the head when he was a kid and then now likes to stab knives into vaginas. I like it. Okay, great.
But perhaps it is through the confrontation of our fears that we can learn to live with them, that we can take back the power they hold over us. Each of us fears something. Each of us is terrified by a certain thing that haunts our minds when we least desire it. But what are those fears? This is the question that we have set out to answer. What scares us, and what scares you? All right, boys, for this section, we asked the listeners of our show and our followers on social media, what scares them? I've also asked you two to think about what scares you and why you think it does. So first, we're going to run through our own fears and then move on to the fears sent in by our audience, and then maybe give a little commentary on them. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, first off, it's most importantly to say that in the book Dune, which I'm currently reading through, Paul Atreides says, fear is the mind killer, and once fear is past, all that's left is you.
Wow.
I think that's a poignant thing, and I don't think you need to make fun of me because I'm reading through Dune. And also, it's fucking great. I don't know if you've...
Hey, nobody was making fun of you. If you think that, if you're going on the defensive, and I think that's because part of you doesn't accept that you were reading Dune. And you got to come to terms with it, man. You can.
It's really good. You should
I guess
watch the
we
David
should have
Lynch movie.
done introduction. So this is Ethan for everybody out there. He's been on the podcast before. He was on
true.
episode 10 where we talked about conspiracies. Ethan and I have known each other since we were in second grade. He was my first friend in America. Well, that's not true. He was my second friend in America because my first friend was in first grade.
And just to be clear, Ethan is the one with a hat, glasses, and facial hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hat, glasses, facial hair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No other questions.
So
The one with the second strongest beard here.
oh man.
It's debatable.
I'm sorry, bro.
So do you want to start us off, and then Ethan, maybe you can go, and then
Yeah.
I will go, and then we
Like
will
what
read
we're
some
scared
of
of?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So
can
yeah.
it be anything, or does
Yeah,
it have to be
anything.
like zombies and witches?
well, I mean, if you want to get existential on us and be like the crippling thought of loneliness, then
Yeah,
sure.
I
But
got it, I
we're
got it.
thinking more like spooky aliens. and
Along
ghosts.
along the terms of the scariest thing, mine is alcoholism, and I'll be right back. Okay, so my biggest fear is what I call, and I think this is a real fear, but it's what I call industrial water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you ever go to like an amusement park, and you know how there's like roller coasters, and there's always like a patch of dirty, like a pond, a man-made pond of dirty water below a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I fucking am terrified of like the idea of like this murky water that's covering this like mechanical thing. You know what? I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I have a fear of dark water, which is just like any. It's very stupid, but
No, I
I'm
get
just-
it.
I'm just like. This is a very specific example, but you know the women's bridge in Des Moines, that like pedestrian bridge.
Yeah.
Every time I went over that, so it's this pedestrian bridge over this like dam area. Every time I went over that, I was always so scared because at night the water's pitch black and it's rushing, right?
I get
So
that.
I was always
yeah.
just terrified, and like I don't like going to lakes or being in lakes because I can't see. the
See,
bottom.
I don't mind it if it's just nature. I don't like the idea that there's like big gears. That's all I imagine is like big.
I'm actually like really scared of reservoirs
Right.
and dams, and I think
Yes.
that stems from when I was a kid. My parents took me to this big dam in Mexico.
Yeah.
And they just went, if you fall in this, you will die. And I
Yeah.
was like,
But it's the idea that not only am I going to drown when I fall into this water, but like my foot's going to get caught and crushed in a gear.
yeah.
And then I'm going to be caught down there. I'm going
And
to
just suffer
drown
and drown, yeah.
and get my body crushed by this giant machine at the
Mhm.
same time. Like
Yeah.
separated, I don't mind either of those two things. But the idea of like machinery underwater
Mhm.
fucking freaks me out. I hate it.
It was so bad for me as a kid that even when I was home on dry land, I was like, bro, that dam is going to get to me. I'm going to fall in that dam.
Yeah,
That's
dude, dams
300
are
miles away from me.
terrifying.
I want to go in it so bad.
Dude, like, yes, because the water is always so fast, and it's like just the fact that there's like an engine running below
Mhm.
water. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
I don't know.
So much.
What do you think of that, Ethan?
What?
Just
Damn.
that, like, dams or
Well, there's
dark
one
water and stuff?
in the freaking canyon, and everybody freaking dies in. Like somebody dies in it each year.
Which one? The one up?
Spanish Fork Reservoir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that.
They just go there and they die, and then they're like, oh.
And then
man,
everybody's like, let's go swim.
let's go swim, bro.
Fuck
I hate
that.
it here.
No, but that's like,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
no,
like,
yeah.
like everybody, and they'll be like, yeah, he got stuck over that
Mhm.
under that piece of wood, like you know
Yeah.
the wood in it,
Yeah, yeah.
and he drowned and he died, and the wood's still there.
Nobody's thought to take that piece of wood out. They're just like, eh. They're
But that
being.
thing's deep. Like one time
Yeah,
I went
yeah. So
only
we have a
one-
reservoir, like in a town, couple, like,
Okay,
Two
yeah,
towns
yeah.
over.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's called submechanophobia.
oh, so it's a legitimate.
It's a
thing.
legitimate thing. It's the
Hmm.
fear of partially or fully submerged man-made objects, such as cars, but it can
Mhm.
include a bunch of shit.
I like to call it. I'm scared of the wateritis.
That's, I'm scared of the clanky wateritis because it's got.
I'm
It's
scared,
gotta have
I'm scared
metal.
of the whoosh whoosh wateritis.
Yeah, because the main big because it's not just the water. It's got to have like a man-made like machinery.
No,
in
yeah,
it.
for
That's
me,
what
like,
scares me.
Whenever I
Yeah.
went over the women's bridge, what always scared me about it was like you turn to the right and it's just all this like fast rushing water going into these ports and like crap
Yes.
is, and I was just like, if I fall, I'm dead.
Yes,
Like
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
This is- and I was
get
also
it,
like,
man.
I don't like this bridge because it's gonna break and I'm gonna fall and I'm gonna die.
yeah. The
'Cause
idea. of,
there's
like,
also
having,
a part on that bridge where like it connects and you can cross from side to side, but it's glass. And I was like, fuck this. Whose idea was it to do this?
Yeah, it's a pretty bridge, but I just don't.
It's a
like
pretty
walking on
bridge.
it.
I just don't fuck with it at night.
Yeah.
During the day, I'm like, I will die, but not as badly. I'm not as scared of it.
At least someone will see me.
Oh,
die.
shit. My I want to apologize to everybody. My smoke alarms have been going haywire and just randomly like beeping as if there's a fire, but there is no fire. I tried to fix them this morning, and I tried to just take the batteries out, and that made it worse. So I put the batteries back in, and the man of the house, my dad, isn't here, and I'm a useless. I went to a liberal arts college, so
I'm
I
a
cannot do
soft-handed
physical
book
things.
reader.
Can't switch the batteries.
No, and so I tried to take him off, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And so I just left him.
This may be a bad time to tell you, but there's a giant fire behind you guys.
Holy shit! No, fire can't cross doors. It's not a ghost.
It's not a ghost, stupid.
Yeah, Ethan, what's something that you're scared of? Like scares you?
K-pop stars scare me, bro.
Like legitimately?
Like legit, like
How?
That's
Why?
like a religion, bro. They will find your address 5 minutes.
Does other
And the SWAT
religions
team.
scare you?
We have
No.
stayed on the good side of K-pop
Yeah,
stars.
Stan Luna, for real, she's the GOAT. I love her.
Ethan's like, I'm not saying anything bad about
There's
them.
nothing bad about
I don't want them to
K-pop,
dox me.
but I
Maybe-
am scared.
This might just me being the oldest on the podcast and also like an old man mentally. I don't know. Did you say Luna? Who's Luna?
Stan Luna, like for real. Stan her.
Mason, stan means to like support or
Yeah.
like
You know,
be a fan
you
of
know
them.
have you ever heard the Eminem song Stan? Where, like,
Yeah,
that
no,
guy-
I've heard the term stand. I'm a
Yeah,
year
Stan,
older.
yeah.
So he is saying
Relax.
Stan
Okay.
Luna. Who is
I-
Luna?
Luna's the
Yes.
GOAT.
This is the most.
Okay,
Who
so
is
I
Luna?
can
Luna's
someone
the
just.
GOAT. The GOAT, the greatest.
I know what that means. I'm asking
Yeah.
you. To
Who is she,
explain
though? Is she
the
a K-pop star?
person to me?
She's the GOAT.
She's the goat, Mason.
Okay, you don't even know who the fuck she is. You don't know, do you? What the fuck
Hey,
is
no,
happening?
yes we do, because
Yes,
if
we do.
we don't know, the K-pop stands are gonna
They'll
come
find
after
your
us.
address. They'll find your mom and dad's social security number in 5 minutes. If you say you don't like
I
K-pop, it's
believe-
over for you. It's over.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't even know who Luna is. I'm
it's
asking for an
it's a-
explanation.
No, Mason, don't
Oh.
say that. If you say that, it's over for
You
us.
can't-
I'm sure
There
she's
goes-
a lovely woman.
There
I
goes your mom
fully-
and dad's social securities.
No,
I believe she's a lovely woman. I just don't know who she is.
She's a
Mason, don't
singer.
say that.
She's a singer for the K-pop, one of the K-pop bands. She's a GOAT.
Yeah,
I
she's the
think-
goat, I
Okay.
think.
Sure. Well, but are you
Yeah,
gonna
well-
make other K-pop fans mad if by saying that she's the
Ooh.
goat?
Well, no, because it's just like you can appreciate. Oh, I don't think they work like that.
What?
As long as you like
It's
Korean
kind.
pop.
I don't know. I mean, what
I
about
wouldn't tell them
Okay,
how
cut
they
this out.
work. Cut this segment out.
No, they
what
scare
about
me.
BTS? That's a K-pop
I
band,
think
right?
she's from BTS, isn't she?
I thought BTS was just guys. God, this is it, guys. There go our parents' social securities. We've
No,
done it.
They're crazy. I'm
did
scared
it.
of them.
Way to
bro.
go, guys.
They'll have me in. Costa
Okay,
Rica
well, I guess
now.
mine were a little more different than you guys.
No, I want to hold on. I want to talk about K-pop for 15 more minutes on this
Okay.
Halloween podcast.
Okay.
No, that was a joke. You go.
So I've always been scared of the idea of being watched when I can't see everything around me. So like in the woods or like in the dark. Just I guess it's like a fear of not being in control of like a situation. So
Sure.
I was like super afraid of the dark as a kid.
Uh-huh.
And again, my parents probably weren't the best parents because they just fed into it and just bullied me for being scared. But when I was 7, I had and I think I've told this story to both of you, and you can whatever, Mason. I don't care because I feel like I already know what you're going to say. But when I was 7, my mom and I were home alone at my grandpa's house, and this was a house that like always had a bunch of strange things happen there. And so we were home alone, and she was downstairs in our patio watering the plants, and she sent me upstairs to my uncle's room because my 2 uncles lived at home still with my grandpa, and then my mom and I lived with my grandpa because my dad was over in the U.S. A little bit of background. So she sent me upstairs to my uncle's room to grab something from his room, and so I was on his bed, and he had like a shelf above his bed, and I was trying to grab this thing, and I had my back to the door. And I had this toy ball. It was a Kids Next Door ball, and it was number 5. And when he threw it, it made a bubblegum popping noise, right? So I had my back turned to the door frame, and I was hit in the back by something, and I heard the noise, so I turned around and I looked, and the ball was right there on the bed, and I like hurried and looked at the door frame, and there was nobody there. So I ran downstairs because I was a big coward as a child, and I was freaking out, and I like told my mom like I asked her if she had thrown this ball at me, and she was still watering the plants, and she was like, "What are you talking about?" And I told her what happened. So she freaked out because she thought somebody had broken into the house. So she called my grandpa and my uncles. Mason, it's Mexico, okay? It's not. Don't shake your head at me. People broke into our neighbor's house
the
like every
idea
other
that
week.
someone
like
broke
normal.
into your
Yeah.
Like
Well,
when
the
I was
idea
in
that-
Mexico,
Yeah.
they were trying to break into our house, but my
Yeah.
I don't.
That's
I'm
just how
not
it goes.
doubting.
So her
I'm not
reasoning
doubting
was
robberies.
because
I'm saying,
she thought.
why would they throw a ball
Well,
at you
here,
if they
let
had
me-
broken into your
Because
house?
she thought like they were trying to get into that room that I was in, so they threw that to distract me to get me out, and then that they were
Okay,
up
well,
there.
that's just silly because that's a terrible way to distract.
Okay. Oh, this guy, white man, classic
If you
white
get
man.
hit in the back with no. The idea that if you get hit in the back with something that's gonna distract you and not make you go, what the fuck was that? That's the thought process.
Well, maybe
She
when you
was
threw
in the moment.
When you threw it, it hit them, and they're like, right? You threw the ball.
I didn't throw it.
Oh, you
I
went-
just saw it and I was like, and then I ran out of there.
But like before, you were just hit with the ball randomly.
Yeah, and the ball wasn't in the room is the other thing. Like I kept all my toys in. My mom was like super neat, so we kept all my toys in like these bins in our bedroom, and so that's what like surprised me was I was like, how did this ball get here? And so anyway, so the point is, I ran down and like I told my mom, and so she freaked out. She called my grandpa and my uncles, and they came home and they searched the house, and there was like no sign of forced entry. All the windows were still locked. The only way somebody could have gone in was through the patio where my mom was, and our guard dog was just asleep. She didn't like no reaction to anything. So I think that from that, like I have a fear of having my back to door frames, which sucks because that's the way my bedroom is set up.
It's
Yeah,
okay,
I was
bro.
gonna
got
say,
it, right? If any ghosts come in, I'm gonna give them the old
Thank
one
you,
too.
Ethan.
But
But
guy
I-
like me could punch a ghost.
That's the
should-
thing is Ethan is built different to where he
That's-
could punch a ghost.
You should probably ask your dad to leave though, because I don't know why he keeps popping in and out of the background. But
Mason, my dad's not home.
well,
Oh, my dad. When we were in Mexico, when my dad was in Mexico, he told me one time that somebody broke in their house and they got home, and my dad went up to his room and some dude was under his bed. My grandpa went and beat his ass.
That's freaking scary.
But like that's scary because like
Yeah.
that's like you're a kid. Like
Right.
why hide under the bed? Like why not just leave? Like
Why
at
not
that
just
point-
hide on top of the bed?
What are they gonna do? Call the police? Like,
No,
No.
because then the police are just gonna come
They're
up
gonna
and
come
beat
and
up.
rob them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The police will be like, if you want us to solve this crime, you got to give us like 300 pesos. And
Like-
then they're like, oh, man.
I
And on
just
top
wanna
of
be-
that, all the electronics in your house.
Yeah.
So
I just wanna make this entirely clear. On the rank of Captain's Log's podcast fears, it goes K-pop stands above the Mexican police department.
Yeah.
well, yeah, I
I
wasn't
just wanna
scared when
make-
we were
I'm
about to
just
get robbed.
saying.
Oh, but the K-pop stands, they keep me up at night.
Whatever. I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
robbed. That's whatever. But I get doxxed and my parents lose their social securities.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
different. Yeah, like if your social security.
Ooh,
for
I just got the
anybody-
chills thinking about that.
Yeah, like your debit card and your
Yeah.
social security
Steal
and your
the
ID
fifth-
number.
Still the $15 in my bank account, please. Oh, Don, that was a joke, please. Actually,
No, they're
give
gonna
us-
take my $20,000 of debt. No.
Yeah, yeah, Sam. Anyway, please support us
Well,
financially.
they
we
can
need
like
all the money we
scam.
can
They
get.
can like take your credit.
Yeah,
They'll take your credit.
but yeah. So for me, it's like going camping and stuff. I'm like the worst because it's like every time I hear something in the woods, I'm like, wait.
Oh
was
shit, you
that?
would have loved it. I went camping. I was camping down at a state park in Missouri. First week of October. Whoops, hit my microphone. And fucking one night I wake up to like a clear scratching noise. There's fucking raccoons outside of my goddamn like a whole family of them breaking into shit, and I'm like, I took a video like on my
Mhm.
phone, and I like move it out, and I like you can see one like stops and like looks at me at the camera, and then just like slowly backs into the darkness. I was like, you motherfuckers.
You fucking assholes. So these were some fears submitted by our listeners. So I'm gonna start with the ones from Twitter because there weren't as many on Twitter.
I posted on
um,
Twitter.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Cash
So
App, I needed $2.46, $9.
he posted, "I'm scared of being broke. Send me money."
Dang.
Okay, I mean, good one.
No, Cash App.
Cash App.
Cash App, I need $2.46.
So
I need
so
$2.46.
this comes from, I think this is one of your followers.
Let me see.
Um
James.
yeah, so this comes
Yo,
from
shout out James.
this comes from James Gammon. on Twitter, and he says, I'm only terrified of two things, clowns and snakes. I was scared of clowns as a kid. I'm not as much now, but I don't like snakes. I am
Remember in
terrified of snakes.
2016?
I'm not.
Yeah, that
that
shit was
afraid of
crazy.
Snakes. Snakes are cool.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they
There's
are.
no point to them. They just slither around.
There's no point to us, Jose. There's
there
point.
is, because we can do this.
That's not
That's
that's not a point.
No, he's making.
Mason. Mason.
Look at it. Look at it. Who
That's
knows?
why we were
No.
created, to do that.
No, that's true. He's making a valid
Snakes can
Yeah.
do that with their entire body, you dumbass.
But it's
Well,
not
we
as
can do it
impressive, right? Because we're not meant to do this.
point.
I thought you said that was our only point was to
Oh,
do
fuck.
that.
My argument is falling apart.
What? I don't.
Well, that's what he just made you want to feel like.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think of that? I'm scared of snakes.
I'm not
Clowns.
scared.
I get the fear of clowns because it's like unsettling.
Yeah.
But I'm not scared of clowns. I was as a kid. Though.
I
big
just
time.
don't know where I would be in like a facility where there would be clowns.
What?
Like,
Mason, no. James is gonna be terrified. Fuck you.
clowns and snakes.
You just looked up clown snake.
No, I don't know where I'd be. Like, where do you?
Ooh,
go?
that's
You pull
probably
up to a
James' big-
function?
James' biggest fear is probably a clown snake.
There is
He's
a
like-
clown snake.
He's like,
Like a clown
Whoa.
snake's
I
an
need to-
actual type of snake.
I should tweet that at him and be like, James, I'm so sorry to do this to you, man, but
I got bad. It's a type
I
of
got
python.
bad news.
It's
what-
a python.
there's clowns.
I've only really had one interaction with a clown, and it was in first grade. And it was when I was still in Mexico. They brought this clown to our school. I don't even fucking remember what he did, but I remember some girl like started crying really badly, and the whole time I was like, ah, man, you're embarrassing us. Come on, not in front of the clown.
This is a clown ball python.
I don't like it. That's gross.
That's pretty sweet. You don't have a snake.
I don't
Like,
like
if you're
snakes.
way rich, you wouldn't just have a snake.
No, I don't. I'm so scared of snakes.
Yeah, but
I
like
don't-
it's just in this huge glass thing.
No,
with so many.
fuck, ugh.
Really?
That's just imagining that scares you.
Yeah, I don't like snakes.
Like I would be scared.
You guys
just
want to
my
make fun of me
house.
all you want. I'm on the same camp as Indiana Jones. So me and Indiana Jones are basically the same. We're both scared of snakes.
Yeah, but Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Okay.
faces-
Fine. Me and Luke
No,
Picard.
he
are-
doesn't.
Gets those.
Okay, he faces his hose, but he doesn't
Okay,
face
I'm
his
just
fears.
joking. I'm just joking. I don't get any hoes either.
Me and Luke Picard are both not afraid of snakes. Does that help? Is that a point?
He's the captain from Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
is that a
I'm
good
actually-
argument? Are you happy with that? Are you happy
Yeah.
that we've done this?
So this is from Madeline it's Madeline on Instagram. She says drowning and suffocation.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I know that drowning is horrible. I've never really been scared of it though. But that's always because I've always been able to somewhat swim.
Have you ever tried to drown yourself?
No, but I almost drowned once accidentally. Wait,
that
what?
just-
Wait, what the fuck? Wait.
We can't skip over that.
Sorry.
Whoa,
Say that one more time.
Have you ever been like tried to put your head underwater and just breathe? Because it's impossible to do it on purpose. Or like
Yeah, because your brain won't
intentionally.
let you.
I can.
Yeah, well, that's what I
Ethan could
found
because he's
out.
built different.
He's
Ethan
built
could
different.
drown
I
himself.
do. I do it all the time.
You should make a TikTok about how built different you are.
One time, my friend let his friends waterboard him.
Yeah, me too.
That's some crazy stuff.
Cool.
Anyway,
What me
drowning and
my friends
suffocation.
did?
I am scared of
We did
suffocation.
normal shit.
As someone who struggles with asthma, it's every day for me. So sometimes I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I try to take deep breaths. I just realized this the other day. This is how bad my asthma's gotten. I was
Yeah.
sitting in bed. Maybe I'm just fat, but I was sitting in bed and I was like trying to take deep breaths. And after like the third one, I was like, and I couldn't breathe.
I don't really. I think that's why I got so much anxiety. Like I don't even be taking deep breaths. I'm like,
Now I think short breaths is the way to go.
yeah.
No, that's definitely asthma, Jose, because I'm fatter than you and I can take deep breaths.
But suffocation is scary. But to me,
Well, yeah,
it's
that's.
more,
I mean, that goes back to my fear of like underwater shit. Like the idea of being like held down by some fucking robot's mechanical grip and
So-
like choked to death terrifies me.
so this is HVAC guy Mason.
the guy's. Never mind. Go ahead.
He'll be listening to this one. So HVAC guy, and he knows who he is. Shout out to my
fucking
friend
knows who he
HVAC. We worked at an oil shop together, a lube shop for cars, and he was a
Cool.
black belt, so he was always like trying to like be like, hey,
You worked at
let
a
me.
lube shop?
Yeah, I worked at Valvoline
When?
in like high school for like 7 months. I talk about this all the time. Anyway,
A plus
You worked at
content.
a lube
Yeah.
store?
yeah.
Here at Captain's Log Podcast, we only aim to provide the top shelf content. Like
Valiant
where
Express.
They work.
You really worked there?
Yeah.
The one by
Mhm.
Taco?
Yeah, the one by Taco Time,
Time?
and then they have another one in Spanish Fork. I also worked there.
What'd you do?
I changed like fluids on under the hood and like
Oh, because you have to be
replaced-
18 to be under.
No. I
18,
was
right?
just bad at being under the hood, in the pit, so they just had me up top. They give you the option. They either train you as like in the pit or up top, and I just did not get it down there. So, welcome to the car section of
Well,
Captain's Log.
Dude,
Here
I
we
didn't know that.
explain how Valvoline oil works.
So I put oil, I put in washer fluid, coolant, replaced cabin and air and like regular air filters.
God, this is
we had
like
a lot of-
this
you
is like
like
a
it?
nightmare.
I did. We also did when we did safety, like back when safeties were required here. That was like my favorite because
Safeties
safeties were
were
so fun. Yeah, because anyway. So
Yeah,
dude,
that's cool.
I wish we
worked
still
at
did
one
safeties.
Last winter, I worked at
really,
a lube shop, yeah.
Huh.
An entire shop.
I'm
That's
gonna go
awesome.
on record and say that's the least cool thing I've ever heard in my life. That you used to work at a lube shop. Fucking awesome.
you know who would say that? A guy who's never worked at a
The
lube
guy,
shop.
yeah.
I bet you pay people to change your fucking
Yeah,
oil,
yeah, yeah.
idiot.
Yeah, I do. You know why?
Yeah,
'Cause I make
do
a
too.
Yeah.
Because I'm a grown up with a salary and I pay people to do shit for
Anyway.
me.
A guy like me, I just stopped right in the middle of the road. Jack
Guy
my
like
car
me,
up.
I never change my oil.
Yeah.
Cool.
Why
So-
would it need to be changed? It's the same. It's just oil.
It's just
Okay,
running back and
if
forth.
we make one more oil change joke, I'm gonna fucking lose it. What
Wait a minute.
happened next in the
Back
story?
to suffocation. So one day we were messing around and he puts me in a headlock and he's like, "Come on, man, you know how to get out of it." And I was not in the mood for it, so I was like, "Hey, man, let me go." And he was like, "No," and he kept squeezing, and I was like, "Hey, man, stop." And he didn't, and then eventually my vision started to blur and my knees
Jesus.
buckled, and I was like, and that was the closest I've come to being like passing out from suffocation. And like when he let me go, he was like, "Oh shit, bud, I'm sorry," and I was like, "Get the fuck away from me!" And all day I just wanted to cry so badly. I don't know why. I was like
feel
16.
taking advantage.
Well, I was like
You're like
16, but
assaulted,
but
literally.
after that I was like, I'm so scared of being choked out. Like I couldn't do it. And like whenever I like wrestle with my cousins or my dad, every time as soon as they put like their arm around my neck, I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm so scared.
Fair enough. I get it. I mean, yeah, I don't share it, but I get it.
Okay, next one comes from Jessica Baxter, and she says she's got two: the devil and spirits. And I mean, these are pretty common ones. It's like it's just the fear of the supernatural.
All right,
You know,
Jessica.
I think the fear of ghosts comes from. I'm not scared of ghosts. I'm intrigued by them. I mean, if something spooky happens, like if a ghost knocks something over, I'm gonna be like, whoa.
Throws a ball at you.
Wrap it up. Jose. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Wrap it
We're
up.
done.
All right.
We're done.
Thank
We're
you
done
guys
here.
for listening.
We're done here.
I've never been afraid of the devil either, but I get that.
You're not afraid of the devil?
No, because I guess it's like over the years I've become less religious, but
Yeah, me too.
I'm not scared of the devil. I've always been like,
Well,
fuck you, Diablo. Like
I'm not really scared of the devil, mainly because like the devil like historically wasn't a thing to be afraid of. You know what I mean?
Oh, come here.
Like
Yeah,
what?
keep going.
Okay.
Hey, he's picking up.
Well,
I'm
like-
just picking up the
Yeah.
podcast dog.
Well, actually, he was
The
saying he wants
pubcast
to-
dog.
The pubcast. Welcome to
What-
pubcast.
What? So, but the devil, like in like back in like medieval times, wasn't a thing to be afraid of. At a
Yeah.
certain point, the Catholics who they will, the Catholics were like they're like they're not afraid of anything anymore. We gotta do something. Like,
Well-
we tell them there's like a red guy who like stabs him in the bow.
Well, even then,
That's terrifying. Get it out
Jose,
there.
You said you don't even like the Catholic Church, Jose. He just said that. You gonna take that, bro?
I mean, I do like
We've
the
had
Catholic
plenty of
Church. They're
talks
very
about the
problematic, but
Church.
um,
Yeah, problematic is how I would explain it too.
there are worse religions out there.
There's the police are the only thing
Yeah.
worse.
I'm all right.
The police
Okay.
is the only thing worse than the Catholics
I would disagree
because they
highly
both
with you.
both have a tendency to take the problematic
Hey, when you have a
person and
fucking
just
exorcism on your hands,
send
let's see you
him
call
to
the
a
fucking
different
cops,
thing.
idiot.
Gladly, I'm not calling the cops for an exorcism. I'm not calling the
the
Catholic
cops, I'll
Church
have
either
sex with
because
them.
I don't
You're
need
just
to
gonna
be
die.
shot.
So
I don't need to be shot. Yeah, if I call the cops, I'm gonna die anyway. And if I call the Catholics, well, you know.
Right. They're gonna
You're
help.
not a little
They got-
boy,
they
so
gotta
you'll be
there in
fine.
5 minutes.
No, that's not how. No, if I want, if I need someone to show up half an hour after a crime's committed, I'll call the cops. But
ooh. Anyway, But yeah, no, not for me. Okay, let's see. I've got another one here.
That was some real hot
Mhm.
takes for me right there, and I'm a little
Right.
concerned about that. This is gonna be our most listened to episode, and
Yeah.
I feel like I shouldn't have just gone on that tirade.
Everybody from Twitter's like, "Yo, religion is fake." Like somebody be like, "Oh,
I
just had so much fun." at
I'm
church today."
agnostic. I'm not. I was raised Catholic, but
What does that mean?
agnostic means I believe in a God. I just don't believe in specific
I think
religions.
agnostic is
That's a
I don't
thing?
know if what I don't know if God's
Well, okay.
real or
Well, then
not.
I am Jose. Let's just say that.
Hi, Jose.
I don't believe. I think religion is the trouble for a lot of things. So I believe in a God, and I believe in certain aspects of religions, but I don't believe in an organized religion.
Yeah, free Palestine.
That's fair. I'm sure that I feel like if a God is real, he's not an asshole, and that's what most
Right.
religions make.
I
God
think
out to be.
if God is real, he doesn't. We're not gonna get into this.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a shit though,
He doesn't
right?
give a
Like,
shit. He's like he made us, and he was like, "Hey, y'all
as
figure
long
this
as
shit
if
out."
you're
God
not
didn't
like
create the
taking
world for
advantage of
everybody.
people or killing people, God's like, I don't give a shit.
Why would God care about?
Well,
that?
yeah, exactly. Why would God care if I showed up to fucking church on
Every
Sunday?
single like.
No.
Imagine God is such a vindictive little bitch that he's like, you worship somebody else.
This is gonna be our most
No.
controversial episode.
That's not good.
We're losing. We have lost the backing of the Catholic Church as well as the Church of Latter-day Saints. We can no longer mention them as
Hey, whoa! I
patrons
didn't
of this
say,
podcast.
I didn't say a single disparaging word about the one true religion, Mormonism. So I don't know what you're talking about. They've never done a bad thing once in their entire history.
No, they
Their
haven't.
entire 10 years of history.
Okay, so another one. Hey, buddy.
Sorry,
He got his little
Jessica. We
claws
didn't
up.
really talk about your fear, but I'm sorry you're afraid of the devil. I hope
I
you
could
get
fight
over
the
it.
devil.
I could fight. That's the thing.
I'd
Is,
win.
if I'm ever near the devil, I'm just calling Ethan, and he's gonna beat him up.
Well, I could like.
So
Yeah. He
All right,
could,
another one- this other
absolutely.
one comes
I've only
from-
ever seen him on video chat, but he looks like he could beat up the devil.
I could get him, bro.
he could
Yeah.
get.
By surprise.
yeah.
Give us
He
your
won't even
stance. Show us your stance. Come on.
Here's what I'm gonna do: is if the devil shows up to me, I'm gonna fuck him, and that way he won't want to fuck him.
It's got to be consensual, though, Mason. You can't rape the devil. That's rude.
I think if there's anything you
Oh.
can rape, it's just that specifically the devil is the only thing that rape is okay.
He's gonna bite your finger off.
Do it.
Okay, so this one comes from C. McKay73. This is going along sort of a Jessica's fear. He says demons have always scared the shit out of me.
Get over it.
Yeah,
nerd.
I get that. Demonic possession, I think. Stop being a bitch, Cameron.
Little baby can't handle a little bit of a.
I'll have you know that CM McKay is one of our biggest supporters and listeners of the show.
Well, I'm hoping
Constantly
get
writes
over
to
his
me
fears.
to let me know how much he likes the show.
Oh, is he a Captain's Log Stan? As the kids
He's a Captain's
call it?
Log stan.
All
We
right.
should start a
Stan
K-pop band. Is what we should.
We're
do.
not Korean.
Yeah.
Well,
I
no,
think-
we get Korean guys or
Oh.
girls, and then we get them to start
Like an investment. Office.
Yeah, we invest in them.
Yeah.
We'll call it Captain's Pop.
Oh, C-pop.
C-pop. C-pop. Ethan's like, I'm not gonna say anything to
I
implement
think
myself in this.
let's rework the name.
So demons. I think demons and like demonic possession is different to me than it's. I mean, obviously it's tied with the devil, but to me it's a step more scary than ghosts or the devil because like exorcisms and possessions are so terrifying to me because it's like just the craziness that is involved with it, like the
Yeah.
crazy shit that happens.
You think demons are scarier than the devil? Isn't the devil?
Well, no, I'm saying
a
like
demon
demonic
boss?
possession. Yes, he is. But like I'm not scared of a demon, but I'm scared of demonic possession or anything involved. You know what I mean?
Like,
Well, isn't that the main thing demons do?
Yes. But like I was faced.
It's like
with a
saying
demon.
like I'm not afraid of garbage men, but I'm terrified of garbage.
Well, yeah, because you're
Well,
not
that's
afraid.
true. You're not afraid-
You're not
that's a
afraid of the
perfect
garbage man, but you
analogy.
can be scared of the garbage. That's
But
fine.
they're
like you don't
all
want
they
to smell the
do is
garbage man, but the
they
garbage. I mean the garbage.
Spend their
the garbage
entire
man be
day
cool.
picking up and moving the thing you're afraid of most.
You don't get it. That's the
I
thing.
don't
You
get
just
it.
don't-
That's the
you
You
just
wouldn't
thing.
get
I
it.
don't.
You wouldn't get it until
You
you've been
wouldn't get it.
possessed. You'll never get it.
You wouldn't get it.
I
You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't.
Get it.
Yeah, it's Joker 2019.
You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't get it.
yeah.
I still have
Um,
never seen that movie.
You're not
Don't
missing
watch
out.
it.
Don't watch it. We watched it together, and I hate it. Okay,
And
so
I hear it was good.
Well,
from idiots. So this one comes
those
from
are-
this one comes from King Clementine, and they write, "Things watching me that I don't know about, people/ghosts/skinwalkers." Okay, I get that because that's very much the same thing. It's like the fear of the unknown. We've covered skinwalkers, and we've covered
Skinwalker.
Skinwalker is a Native American legend that basically is like a witch doctor or a sorcerer from a tribe that has basically sold their soul, and they can like transform and shapeshift into different creatures. And they
That'd be scary. That'd be cool. Transform into some hoes.
hey, listen. I've made it very clear on this podcast that I get Wendigos and skinwalkers, and I don't think it's that big of a deal.
yeah,
Well, you just transform into some bad bit. Like
I just transform into fucking
Cannibalism
Chris Hemsworth.
Cannibalism is not that big of a deal.
All right,
Whoa,
we're not saying that.
alright.
He's got a whole thing.
Cannibalism is not that big of a deal.
Oh.
Murder is not okay, but just eating a dead body is
Well, how are you gonna
no.
get that dead body?
Well,
You're gonna eat an old
he's not
grandma
gonna
that's
kill
eating-
them. He's saying like he would eat somebody after they're dead.
That is
Yeah.
gross.
You eat a. What's the difference between a dead human and a dead cow?
Because I'm superior. I'm that guy.
Superior
That's
race.
why.
You're
Yeah.
superior.
I'm superior.
Congrats, Nazis. That's where you're at.
You said to a cow. There's nothing wrong. That's not racial. That's
You just,
species.
the joke was you guys said you're a superior race. You
Yeah.
said race.
You said
I-
race. I didn't say race. I said I'm that guy. That's what.
I'm the
Yeah.
problematic one here. So, no, yeah, I get that fear. Like definitely.
So if the three of us and your dog were locked in a room, and
Who
all
kissed
Hey.
him first?
and
Wait,
you both of you and your dog died, I would eat one of you before the dog.
Why would you eat anybody? Like, why wouldn't you just want to?
Assuming-
wouldn't that be like pretty traumatic? Like, if I saw my friends die in front of me, I'd
Hey
be like,
man,
I'm gonna
this guy's
die.
a psychopath. That's why I do this over Zoom now.
Yeah.
If I had to survive and I was between eating a person or a raw puppy, I would eat a person.
a raw puppy, there would
So you're
both
gonna
be
eat a raw? Yeah. What?
Yeah, I eat a raw person over a raw puppy.
Why?
I don't know. Why
You're
would you eat
making
the
my
puppy?
son scared.
Why would you eat the puppy over the person?
I wouldn't eat anybody. That's
I would try to
That's
get out of
not
the
an
room.
option.
Mason, why is that your
That's
first?
not an
trying to get some
option.
hoes.
You guys are bringing in.
Real. We
You guys are bringing in a bunch of bullshit.
Three guys,
Three
four
guys.
men,
I'm
bro.
trying to get some hoes in the room.
Yeah,
First.
You guys are bringing in shit that's not part of it. You're locked in a room, and the only
Trying
way
to
to
get some
survive.
hoes.
But you're saying you're locked in a room. If
All right, fine.
locked,
You're
then that
not
means you
locked
can
in the
get
room.
out of the
You're
room.
in the fucking. You're in the mountains. You're in the Donner Party.
I
Get
wouldn't
some
be in the
hoes.
Donner Party. That's the thing about me.
Okay,
though.
see that's not an option. You guys are specifically
Yeah, guy like me,
not
I
doing
just
this
said-
correctly. You
I'm
do not
brown. I
understand
wouldn't
how
be traveling with a
hypotheticals
bunch of
work.
white people. That's the
Tell
thing.
that to the two natives that were like, we shouldn't go up there, and then went up there anyway.
Well, money, you know.
Well, I'm different.
I'm not. Yeah. So
Yeah, my ancestors were chilling with.
Yeah, no, you guys aren't different. You're the fucking same. I'm different because I would eat a person with no problem.
Yeah, but that's something you think about. I don't think about eating people. I think about.
Yeah,
Panda
because
Express.
you know why? Because you're fucking basic.
At least
okay.
I
So
don't-
the next fear, the next one here is Let me see if I can find it. This next one here says, "Kids named Jose."
Yep.
I don't follow. I have the few Jose's I met. I've never been afraid of any of them. In fact, I feel like I could beat the shit out of the majority of Jose's I've ever met in my life.
Ooh, Mr. Tough Guy.
No,
Beat
that's
him
the thing,
up,
Ethan.
Mr. Tough Guy.
That's the thing, Ethan. I'm not tough at all. I'd get my ass beat by 99% of the people I've met.
Where's?
That
Give me the gun.
1% is the Jose's.
Say that again. Hey.
What?
Get him, Jose.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. He's got a gun too.
All right. Well, let's just say he don't like K-pop. See what happens then.
Hashtag
it.
Mason
I like-
thinks K-pop is bad.
They're gonna
like
set your
K-pop.
grave on fire, and then they're gonna take your soul, and then they're gonna keep it, and they're gonna play the Lumineers for the rest of your life in a bottle.
Oh, okay. I like the Lumineers. Let's not. Okay.
Is that one of Jose's weird guys that like they wear suspenders and play banjos? that one of those bands?
You look like you could be in the Lumineers, so you shut your mouth.
I don't. You
You'd
know
be like,
why?
"Yo, I
Because I
know
don't
my-"
look like I'm trying to be in the 1800s.
Oh man.
Whoa, he looks like he's trying to be in the 1900s.
Explain that joke, Jose.
The flannel shirt and the hat, the
He's
glasses.
from Oregon. He fought on
You
the
guys are
north.
wearing
Yeah.
hats and glasses, so if you put on a flannel shirt, that's the only difference.
But we're brown though, so.
Now you're just being racist.
Whoa.
Whoa. Anyway, so this next one says mirrors. This one is interesting to me. I've never thought about this.
Someone was
Mirrors.
afraid of mirrors?
Yeah, I don't know
What
if
does
it's
that
because they're
reflect
butt
you?
ugly. Oh, sorry, I should have said the kid's named Jose one came from Little Jack 18, and
Ah.
this one comes from Maritz 6077, and he says mirrors.
Do you think that expands to cams and very reflective windows?
Yes. So I think I get this fear because so in like a lot of cultures, when somebody passes away, you have to cover mirrors because there's that belief that spirits become trapped in these reflective surfaces, and sometimes the reflective surfaces can be like portals to the next life or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, oh shit, look at that spooky ass mirror.
This just
Unless
reminds me-
maybe they're just butt ugly and they're like, damn, ooh. Maybe you're scared of the person in the mirror.
this
I'm
just
You got to
reminds
start with the
me-
man in the mirror.
I'm scared that you'll never see yourself.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
It just reminds me of when my great grandmother died. One of the guys in the nursing home opened a window and was like, "It's so her soul can escape." And then my mom was like, "Thought that was really sweet," and it is pretty sweet. And so when we were talking about having the pastor read the obituary, whatever at the funeral,
Yeah, that lava lump gets really hot.
my mom told the pastor about the window thing, and the pastor was like, "Well, that's not real, stupid." like no, dummy, the spirit can just float through the ceiling. It doesn't need a window open.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny. Okay, so Ashton Eves right in, and he says, how little we actually know. I get that.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
existential to me. That's like
I mean,
big brain.
yeah, that's
thought.
like
Ignorance is bliss. Like,
yeah, that's exactly
Well,
what
that's
I
the other thing.
I
Is
like, just
I'm
don't think
okay
about
with
it.
not
Yeah.
knowing a lot of the
Well,
things because I think it's scarier to be able to know everything because it's like to be able to have that sort of knowledge of everything going on. Like you're burdened with it. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
that's all
you'll
as
know,
someone
I
with
like the
people
mystery.
dying somewhere.
without the mystery, we don't have this podcast. So
no,
I
as
like the
someone
mystery
with
right now.
anxiety,
Oh, look,
all
Mr.
I
Moneybag.
want is to know every single thing in the world. Like
I've always
how
been
much
okay with not knowing.
better I would feel if I could predict what was about to happen in a Sherlock Holmes-esque fashion.
No,
do
I
that.
huh?
I do that.
He does that. Ethan does
What
that. He
is
can teach
your
you.
deal? What is your deal,
I
Ethan?
could do it.
Ethan is God. He's an
Do you
ancient
just not
god,
have
self-diagnosed.
flaws? Yeah, no shit.
Have you seen
What is
that?
happening?
Have you seen that post? There's like an Instagram post that says ancient god, and then in parentheses it says self-diagnosed.
Oh, I'm sure. Me and Sherlock like this.
Oh wow.
You're touching wieners?
Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to be like that, yeah. But I was
Okay.
thinking more. I mean, it popped up in his head. But...
Yeah,
But yeah, the
it did.
fear
I
of
don't
the unknown.
understand.
No, the
Yeah,
fear of the
yeah.
unknown. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
scares me about the ocean is not knowing everything that's
Well,
in
yeah,
the
that's
ocean.
the same
Scared
thing
about
with like
space.
not knowing what's
Yeah, 'cause-
below water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the ocean is so vast that it's like we don't even really know everything that's there.
I know, but like,
Yeah.
what is? I mean, it's been
Well,
millions
that's-
of years. Like, wouldn't something already happen already? If there's something under there that was
No.
scary. Okay, name
I
one
don't-
thing.
The
That
whole
would happen like
the whole
that.
point is we
Big,
don't
big
know.
fish, big scary fish.
Okay,
Mr.
but there's
Sharks?
big scary fish in the Jurassic times.
Exactly. What if they're still around?
Yeah.
but they would be doing stuff.
All right. Ethan.
How do you know? That's the whole point is we don't know.
Exactly.
That's the whole point is we don't know.
I know.
All right. This is the last
What
one.
is God damn it?
This is the last one, and it comes from D Thatcher 303, and he says, "Getting sick and feeling like there's a chance I'll die in my sleep that night."
Dude,
How
no,
do you know
that's
it's
not a fear. That's a hope. I go every single day.
How do you
single
know?
day.
How do
I'm
you
like,
know
yes.
they're a he?
I know who it was. Their name. I know who it is.
Okay, well I
clicked on their
don't. So I
profile and-
didn't know that.
I clicked on their profile, and it's a man. So,
Okay,
could-
well that's fine, but
um,
anyway.
You know what hope? You know, like, dang,
Yeah.
like this life really
No.
that long.
No,
I
I'm
go to
actually
bed.
scared
I
of
do
that too.
go to.
Every
really?
time-
No,
I am. Well, I don't
I
want to
go to
die like
bed-
that. I want to die on my own terms.
dude. All I can think of is like, how great would it be if I just didn't wake up?
You guys are so sad.
So, dude,
No,
Stop
it'd be
being
sad.
depressed.
Dude, that's
You're just
the
living in the past.
ideal
Stop being
way
depressed.
To die is to be like, You just never wake up one day.
Yeah, and
you
like
go to bed
sometimes.
peacefully, and you just never wake up.
Yeah,
But I don't want to
there's
die
just
when I
too
got a
much.
fucking runny ass nose and the runs.
Why?
Well,
That's
just
the
like at any
best time to die. You don't want to
I die
die
at
when
any
your
time.
I disagree.
body
I've
sucks.
always been scared. Like growing up, I like every time I got sick, I was like, "This is it. Tonight's the night, man. Fuck."
I
Like
hope
all
that's
night, I
not
would be
it.
there, like, "I'm gonna die."
Every night, I tweet. I hope I don't wake up tomorrow. Every single night.
Hey,
I
man.
manifested it, bro. One day.
You know, there's better ways to manifest not waking up.
Like what?
Well, you
Overdosing.
You could park a car in a garage, in a closed garage, and put a hose in the exhaust, and then bring it up through the window.
Yeah, but that's a lame way to die. Like,
But
what
you're a
if you
car
just-
guy, though.
I know, but you just like die, and your family's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how he died." Like,
No
Yeah.
one.
I want to be on
Oh,
a top
I get
10
what you're
list.
saying. Hope not ever to see heaven. I have come to lead you to the other shore, into eternal darkness, into fire and ice. It is often said that the scariest thing in the human mind, for it conjures up terrors of grisly ghouls better than any evil deity ever could. Vincent Price once said, "It's as much fun to scare as to be scared." And perhaps it is this very reason that internet chat rooms and forums have been sharing unsettling stories of killers and entities have become so popular as the web grew. Over the years, these internet tales of suspense and horror became known as creepypastas. Creepypastas are related legends that have been copied.
Creepypastas are spooky spaghetti.
Yeah,
Fearsome fettuccine.
yeah.
Something with linguine.
Something with linguine. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Creepypastas are related legends that have been copied and pasted around the internet. These internet short stories are normally brief, user-generated paranormal stories intended to scare Jesus. I just said intended. Intended to scare readers or maybe even arouse them.
Excuse me? That's not what I wrote.
They include tales of gruesome murder, suicide, otherworldly occurrences, and getting fucked by different cryptids.
That's not right.
Creepypastas is... I'm reading the words you wrote, Jose.
I did not.
Creepypasta is a combination of the words creepy, obviously, and pasta, but that comes from the word copypasta, which refers to, copy and pasting things around the internet. The exact origins of creepypasta are unknown. Early creepypastas were usually anonymous and routinely reposted, making the history of this genre difficult to study. Some of the more famous creepypastas include Slender Man, Jeff the Killer, Ted the Carver, and Ben Drowned. Today, Jose and I, along with Ethan, have brought our own creepypasta to share, and we've also been sharing... Oh, and we're also going to be sharing one that our listeners shared with us.
You were stroking out 2 times now.
Well
That's 2
done.
episodes back to back.
Well done, Mason. Thanks, Mason. Anyway, here's Jose.
Right. So let's get into it. Mason, do you want to share the creepypasta that you found?
You want me to read 2 big paragraphs back to back? I mean, I'll do it, but...
Yes. Well, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe I'll give you a break. Here, I'll share
it's
mine.
fine. I can read. That's fine.
All right.
How long is this? This is a really short one, so it's fine.
Okay, good, because mine is kind of long.
This is called Gateway of the Mind.
Thanks.
In 1983, a team of deeply pious...
God damn it. Did you never read in class? Did they never make you read in class? Is this what's happening?
Fucking got like a 26 on the reading part of my ACT.
I got a 31. Suck my dick.
No, you didn't.
I did.
It's Mr. Smart Guy.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Mr. Smart Guy. Oh, I'm so smart. Oh.
In 1983, a team of deeply pious scientists
You have to be mean about it.
conducted a radical experiment in an undisclosed facility. The scientists had theorized that a human without access to any senses or ways to perceive stimuli would be able to perceive the presence of God.
Yeah, I feel God. He comes into my bed every. Sorry, keep going.
We're going to hell.
I'm sorry, you and God are both coming in your bed at night?
Oh.
So they were the scientists. They thought if you deprived everybody of all senses, you'd be able to perceive the presence of God.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that guy.
If God is fucking dying, then yes.
They believed.
Well,
They
all
believed. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say all senses. That's like taste.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not eating anything.
Yeah, I suppose, right?
It's in like a sensory deprivation tank, I'd assume,
Oh,
right?
okay,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like one of those water
Stranger
tanks.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like they make you
Or are they
feel
like
like
IV?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
could be.
yeah.
All
Continue.
right, so they believed that the five senses clouded our awareness of eternity, and without them, a human could actually establish contact with God by thought. An elderly man who claimed to have nothing left to live for was the only test subject to volunteer.
I've got nothing left to live
Yeah, I
for.
was gonna say I'll do this too.
Hey, I'll
yeah.
do this.
To purge him of all his senses, the scientists performed a complex operation in which every sensory nerve connection to the
Excuse me.
brain was surgically severed. Okay.
Say that
so
part again one more time.
They
What?
surgically severed all of his like sensory nerve connections.
What the fuck?
So, yeah, so like they cut all of it, like his brain, I guess. I don't really know.
Okay.
But they surgically removed all of his senses. And although the test subject retained full muscular function, he could not see, hear, taste, smell, or feel. Is that possible?
Hey, man, if I get really drunk, I can't taste, see, or feel sometimes.
Well, the whole goal of drinking is to drink myself
Exactly,
out of feeling.
yeah.
But anyway,
You
with
guys
no
need
possible
therapy.
way to communicate.
No,
Oh,
we just drink.
Therapy.
yeah.
Therapy. My therapy is called tequila.
Therapy.
Yeah, my therapy is called whatever I can get in my fucking mouth.
Continue. So they severed this old man's fucking brain or whatever, right?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They did. Okay. So but he retained full muscular function, although he could not see, hear, taste, smell, or feel, and he had no possible way to communicate with or even sense the outside world. He was alone with his thoughts.
Okay.
Obvious.
Like me every night. Continue.
Yes, exactly. Scientists monitored him as he spoke aloud about his state of mind in jumbled, slurred sentences that he couldn't even hear. After 4 days, the man claimed to be hearing hushed, unintelligible voices in his head. Assuming it was an onset of psychosis, the scientists paid little attention to the man's concerns. However, 2 days later, and this is 6 days, the man cried that he could hear his dead wife speaking with him, and even more, he could communicate back. The scientists were intrigued, but were not convinced until the subject started naming dead relatives of the scientists themselves. He repeated personal information to the scientists that only their dead spouses and parents would have known. At this point, a sizable portion of the scientists had left the study. After a week of conversing with the deceased through his thoughts, the subject became distressed, saying the voices were overwhelming. In every waking moment, his consciousness was bombarded by hundreds of voices that refused to leave him alone. He frequently threw himself against the wall, trying to elicit a pain response. But okay, here's my thing. How does he know he's throwing himself up against a wall? He can't feel anything. You know what I mean? He can't feel anything. He doesn't know where a wall is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, he begged the scientists for sedatives so he could escape the voices by sleeping. This tactic worked for 3 days until he started having severe night terrors. The subject repeatedly said that he could see and hear the deceased in his dreams. Only a day later, the subject began to scream and claw at his non-functional eyes, hoping to sense something in the physical world. The hysterical subject now said the voices were dead. Oh, sorry. The voices of the dead were deafening and hostile. Speaking of hell and the end of the world, at one point he yelled, "No heaven, no forgiveness," for 5 hours straight.
I yell the same thing every time I get hammered.
Yeah, same. I
No
yell the
heaven,
same.
no forgiveness.
I
Everybody's
say-
like, Jose, you've had too much. This is your cutting off point.
I whisper that to myself every morning when I wake up. I'm like,
No heaven.
no heaven, no forgiveness. Okay.
Sometimes
Anyway.
when I get the runs really bad, I say that too. No
So
heaven, no forgiveness.
He yelled that for 5 hours straight. He continually begged to be killed, but the scientists were convinced that he was close to establishing contact with God.
But the scientists were part of the same group that the CIA used for MK Ultra and said, "We don't give a fuck about you."
Yeah, you can just imagine, and like behind the glass, they're like, "Hey, Frank, he's really fucked in there, isn't he?"
Yeah, he is.
You think we should kill him?
No.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
No. And then they
Hey.
break open a bottle of tequila and they're just like, woo.
Let's go poke him in the brain some more and see if that does anything.
They're just like, hey, you're being a real pussy. Can you stop, please?
He can't hear you. We stabbed that.
Oh,
Remember
right.
we stabbed that ice pick into his ears?
Right.
Yeah. Can't hear a
Yeah.
thing.
Then how
All
can
right,
you speak
so,
coherently?
That's a
What?
good question, Ethan. He
What?
saes, how can he speak?
How can he speak coherently?
Yeah.
Like, how,
No, he can't speak. He said they said specifically that he could fuck, where did it go?
He could speak, but he can't see or hear, right?
No, well, but
He can't see, but he can hear?
scientists monitored him as he spoke aloud about the state of his mind in jumbled, slurred sentences.
Oh.
So he's like a deaf person talks,
Yeah.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, okay.
Continue.
okay.
No, I don't
So
have anything to add.
so the scientists are convinced he's about to see God. After another day, the subject could no longer form coherent sentences. Seemingly mad, he started to bite off chunks of of flesh from his arm. The scientists again, but how do you know if he can't feel anything? How does he like do that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does he even get to that point?
Yeah.
Like, because you can't feel a single thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, whatever. The scientists rushed into the test chamber and restrained him to a table so he could not kill himself. After a few hours of being tied down, the subject halted his struggling and screaming. He stared blankly at the ceiling as teardrops silently streaked across his face. For 2 weeks, the subject had to be manually rehydrated due to the constant crying. Eventually, he turned his head and, despite his blindness, made focused eye contact with a scientist for the first time in the study. He whispered, "I have spoken to God, and he has abandoned us." And
Ooh, bars.
his vital signs stopped.
Yes,
There was no apparent
Yeah.
cause of death.
My next Instagram post is just gonna say that.
That's so
Spoken to
trendy. That's like
God.
that's like
That
an
is.
Instagram.
I'm gonna get that tattooed on me.
Instagram.
I liked No Heaven,
Fashion
No
model.
Forgiveness more, but that's just my thing.
Anyway,
That was it. He died.
That is it.
Oh,
That
this
I
is
have
really-
spoken to God and He has abandoned us. Is that what it
And
said?
then he died. There was no apparent cause of death.
So how did He speak to God if He abandoned us then? Did He speak to
spoke
God
with
and
him.
God was like, "Hey, I abandoned you."
God was like, "Oh my God, are you a human?"
First death.
I stopped fucking with you guys like years ago.
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
Anyway,
That,
I'm gonna go ahead and have to kill you now.
I don't know. That was kind.
It was kind of spooky.
A little bit. Yeah. I like.
It was
I
a
feel
little spooky, dude.
As if I was like a teenager, like in my early teenage years, that would have been something that I thought about for a week. If I had read that story, I would have been like, "Oh my God." It's like I remember I used to like get on iFunny, #throwback. Yeah, no, I remember once reading one. This is super short, but I read one when I was like a teenager that was like a woman went into a hospital and she had just been in an accident, and when they like tried to like pull her medical records, they couldn't find any evidence that she existed, and they tried to restrain her, and when they did, she just looked at them and said, "I am God." And it was like a picture of like a really scary looking lady, and I thought about that for like 3 months. Every day I was like, "Oh fuck."
Wait, why?
It just scared me so much.
Some
because
stuff stays in my head.
she was God, Ethan.
She was God, Ethan. Also, it was a really scary picture.
Wait,
okay.
How old were you?
I was like 13.
It was last night.
It was last. It was. This is one I read last night.
3 months ago.
All right, so this is mine. It's a bit long, so bear with me. All right. My fiance and I are from California, but her family lives in Colorado, and they own a
You're
cabin.
Jose from Utah, liar.
Shut the fuck up. And they own a cabin near Pikes Peak, way up in the mountains. After visiting them, they recommended we go stay at the cabin a few days. We are avid hikers and jumped at the opportunity, like this. Colorado.
Also, you're
They
gonna
got
keep
hired.
referring to we, and I'm gonna keep imagining you and Ethan in this story.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
we gay keep scrolling. And I'm more chippies.
Yeah. Colorado is very rich Native American folk legend. Virtually every place you go used to belong to an indigenous community. And the few of them who remain keep the traditions and stories alive. Pikes Peak is no different. There are enough stories and gift shops to give anybody the sense that the land itself is alive. I don't know if this has anything to do with what is happening, but maybe someone here is from Colorado and could help us connect the dots.
They do races there
In Colorado?
in Pikes Peak.
Oh, Ethan knows this place. Faye and I are currently at the cabin. It's day 4 and we were planning on leaving today. But things have gotten very strange around here and it looks like we're going to have to stay here a while longer. We have enough food for a winter and the heater is in stellar order. But the Wi-Fi is terrible at best and there's virtually no cell reception. We felt isolated. I will try to respond to comments, but the internet dips out for hours at a time up here. Convenient.
Yeah.
The first weird thing that happened was the snow. There was no snow in the forecast, so we packed light. But on the first night here, just our luck, a blizzard pounded the whole area. My little Corolla is basically a brick of ice outside. And there's no way I'm going to try to make the 6-mile drive down the mountain to the town. You having fun there?
I don't know what you're talking about. I certainly
It
wasn't
sounds like The
doing
Shining.
anything off screen.
This sounds like The Shining, huh? It does. I blame myself for trusting Colorado in spring. After a day, Thursday, of lovely hiking and sightseeing, some really unsettling stuff started happening. When we returned to the cabin just before dusk, we found an enormous dream catcher dangling from a tree about a dozen yards from the back door. This wasn't the kind you're imagining, the kind you buy from a novelty shop. This thing was made from twigs and twine. It's about 3 feet in diameter, absolutely humongous. Neither Faye nor I were stupid enough to touch it. We are veteran horror movie fans, and we know that's how you get cursed. If the snow melts a bit, I'll go back out there and snap a picture of it and post it here. That night, while we were eating dinner, we heard a bunch of noises in the woods outside. Twigs crunching, leaves rustling, etc. This isn't unusual because we saw some elk and deer on our hike, but the sounds were slow and purposeful. They stopped and started and were rhythmic, like someone was casing the area in a crescent shape around the cabin. I used my really bright tactical flashlight to look outside from the porch, but there was nothing. What a fucking... Sounded like he was going to go into a sponsor right there.
Yeah, why you got a tactical flashlight but not a gun?
Yeah, what?
Don't you dare make fun of people with tactical flashlights. They're very helpful and very useful.
No, I know, but just the way he was like, I used my big, humongous, gigantic, trustworthy...
honorable,
he didn't say that.
hardworking.
We stayed in all day on Friday and just cuddled / hung out / played some of the board games we brought and some of the Super Nintendo games they had in the cabin. Donkey Kong Country 2. I have considered stealing because it's the greatest game ever made.
Way to put in those details. It really makes the story feel real.
Right. It snowed again, and after dark, we started hearing more noises. Around 1 a.m., Faye woke me up and told me she was hearing a voice outside. I strained to listen and thought I could make out the sound of wind. I thought I could make out the sound of a man crying very far away, but his voice was drowned out by the wind, so I wasn't absolutely certain of what I'd heard. We went back...
It's a Halo theme song.
Yeah. We went back to sleep, but again, around 4:45 a.m., we heard him more distinctly and closer. He sounded like he was calling for help, but he would dip into another language that I've never heard before.
Help!
Do you hear that? What is that? Ah, it must just be the wind. You know how the wind sometimes screams for help?
I wouldn't go help somebody.
That's the thing is I would not. We've had this discussion before. Me and Ethan have, and me and you have.
It's true.
That's just like dumb.
No.
That's
no.
like
Yeah, I would immediately walk towards screaming because, like, I gotta know.
No. Oh, that's true. Mason would. One time,
Yeah.
here's a funny story. One time me and Mason were leaving our communications building, William Penn University. William Penn cares.
I went there too.
And we were, and there's a cemetery right by it, and we were leaving, and it was late at night, and there was like a dog barking noise coming right from the cemetery, and Mason was like, "Whoa, what is that? We should go check that out." And I was like, "What the fuck? No way!"
Yeah.
He was like, "Come on, man, let's go."
Worst case scenario is I get murdered by a ghost, and that sounds awesome.
That's like the start of all 90s horror movies.
Yeah.
Bro, it's not even anything, bro. Are you
Oh,
scared?
I'm not saying it was nothing. I'm saying we should see what it is. It
Typical
might
white
be.
man.
Dude, it might be like the devil, but like I want to check it out.
Well, he's
We-
not scared of the devil. So.
Yeah. We
It's
called the
like
ring.
K-pop stands.
If it was K-pop stands, I would have
It's
gotten the
over.
hell out of there.
Why? You could make friends with K-pop stands.
I just don't want to say something problematic.
Yeah,
What would
you're
you
like,
say? Well, then
What if
don't.
I say the wrong thing? What if I stand the wrong person?
Well, then just don't be vague.
I don't know anything about K-pop though.
Yeah, neither do I. But like, pretend you're a K-pop fan. Grill me.
Who is K-pop?
Hey, K-pop is whoever you want it to be, man. K-pop's in the heart, not in the mind.
Okay, but like, give me your favorite K-pop artist.
Dude, how could I pick just one? They're all amazing.
Look how you pick up girls too.
Dude, that's pretty good. Yeah, wow. Okay. We called the ranger station at the bottom of the hill using my cell phone, and they told us they'd get up there and check it out. We never saw them, and I doubt they ever came. Rangers don't give a fuck about you people. On Saturday, shit got really scary. It snowed again in the morning, and I stopped getting service for most of the day. Faye and I watched movies and tried to Skype with her family, but that didn't work. She went to sleep early, around 8, while I did some photo editing on my laptop in the living room. She woke up crying hysterically. When I asked her what was wrong, she said she'd had a dream that she was lost in the woods outside and something was following her. I cuddled with her until she fell back asleep, and eventually I drifted off too. What is
You're
it, though?
scaring your dog,
Scaring
Jose.
him. Look, he's shaking.
He's very scared.
Dude, what happens when I leave, bro? You're just gonna be alone with the dog after these scary stories?
No,
These
I will
scary
die.
stories.
It snowed again in the morning, and I stopped getting service for most of the day. Oh, no, wait. Fuck, I already read that, too. Faye woke me up around 1 a.m. She was absolutely beside herself. I've never seen her so afraid in my life. And just the look on her face really unsettled me. She told me that she'd heard the man outside again, but she recognized the voice. She was absolutely convinced that it was her grandfather's voice, and that he was wandering around outside begging for help. Faye's grandpa died when we...
Your grandpa.
Help me, I'm so old. I'm so old. It's snowing.
Faye!
Out here.
Faye, I want to make some very controversial remarks. Faye's grandpa died when we were seniors in college 4 years ago. I told her that she was dreaming, but then I heard the voice too. I never met the guy, so I wouldn't recognize his voice, but it did sound different from the night before. It sounded older. I had to do everything I could to keep her from running off into the woods looking for him. Eventually, she realized that the possibility of it being him was absurd, so we put a movie on at good volume and fell back asleep. My cell phone wouldn't connect a single call. Eventually, she realized that it was absurd. Bitch, right away, you should have been like, that's the voice of my dead grandpa, so I will not go check that out.
You know, sweetie, I've been thinking, and
I just let her go.
I think it's crazy, the idea to think that my grandpa would be haunting these hills.
Well, also, because she was convinced that it was him out there calling for help. Your dead grandfather, who's been dead for 4 years, is out there on some He's fine. He landed on his feet. On some Colorado, he did that himself. He was fine. On some Colorado mountain, her grandpa, who died 4 years ago, was just fucking randomly there. Anyway, what happened last night, Sunday, was the thing that sent me over the edge. Essentially, the same thing happened. Around 1 a.m., at which point I was still awake, almost expecting the noise to happen, I heard a voice. This time, it was a woman's. Thankfully, it was distant enough that it didn't wake Faye. I walked into the bathroom and cracked the window open just a tiny bit. The frosty air that came through the crack seemed like a death sentence to me as a Californian. Nobody could survive outside for long in that, not without serious military winter gear. And yet someone was wandering the fuck around out there, stepping on twigs and crying. I am reasonable, skeptical, sometimes arrogant, agnost, but I'm telling you, the voice sounded exactly like my mother's. My mom is alive and well and living in Southern California, so my brain instantly cramped at the sound of her voice out here in the Rocky Mountains. I would know my mother's voice anywhere. I think we all would. And I'm telling you, I'm about 90% sure it was hers, which is way, way too sure to not scare the shit out of me.
That's true, because I know his mom's voice anywhere.
Yeah. I grabbed my light and went outside with a blanket wrapped around me and my hiking boots on. I circled the entire cabin and looked around. There was snow pushed out of the way in a big, meandering pattern that snanked in and out of the tree line, like someone was drunkenly shuffling around. Maybe they were injured. The path went right up to the bathroom window and then back into the woods. Each time the voice called out, I shouted, "Mom," or "Who's there?" or "Who are you?"
He was 99% sure it was his mom.
Yeah, but then he's like,
"Who are you?"
"Who's there?"
I also love how he was like, "Babe, it's not your grandpa. That's
and then
fucking
immediately
stupid."
he was like,
and he's like, "Oh my god, Mom!" And like, let me get out there real quick.
And each time the voice receded further and further into the woods. I'm pretty certain it was trying to coax me deeper and deeper into the forest, away from the cabin. Probably. I'm still alive because I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to die like some dumbass in a bad
I'm not
horror
an
movie.
idiot, I thought to myself as I stood knee-deep in snow
So
with
I stood with a blanket.
staring around the woods for my mother, who doesn't live there.
I'm still alive because, he said, I read that. I went back inside and made sure we were locked down tight. Since I can't call a ranger station, I'm posting this instead. I will keep you updated. You know how sometimes you're in danger, and instead of like trying to get in contact with the authorities, you post on Reddit?
You know who's gonna save me? Some assholes on our creepypasta.
Yeah. Edit, it's Monday, and we've got a hold of Faye's dad. The weather is supposed to clear up tomorrow, so he's gonna come pick us up in his truck and help get my car down the mountain. I will keep you all informed. Only one more night in this place. I'll try to get some photos up. Edit, 9:30 p.m. Monday. I've been able to get online twice today. I wish I knew more about electronics, but I'm a history teacher, sigh, so I don't think I can fix the Wi-Fi or predict when it'll work.
I can't possibly understand computers because I teach history, and
Right.
you can only learn one thing in life.
I can send/receive emails and some Reddit posts, but I cannot load some websites or view photos. Faye, convenient. Faye hasn't been feeling well since noon. She developed a stomachache and has been intermittently throwing up. We both ate the same thing, and I feel fine, so I'm not sure what it is. She sometimes gets like this when she gets worked up. Although I'm an agnost/atheist, I don't think you can be an agnost/atheist. She is very Catholic and is pretty convinced that something supernatural is going on. No need for alarm at the moment. She does not have a fever, and I'm keeping her hydrated and in high spirits. She seems to be on the mend, went to sleep about an hour and a half ago. Some noises to report, cackling/repetitive vocalizations in the forest, probably 100 yards out. The tree line... It's just like one guy from SpongeBob. You know what, the surfer guy from SpongeBob?
Yeah, bro.
The tree line starts about 20 yards out, so the sound is coming from much deeper. Some movement spotted just behind the tree line at dusk, but could be elk, deer, etc. Couldn't see very much, keeping all the curtains closed, windows locked, furniture in front of the door/back door, and I'm checking on Faye every half hour. Her dad will be here in the late morning to pick us up, take my car out. Another Redditor near us pointed out that I'm an idiot for not double-checking the weather. You are correct. I'll promise I'll provide an update as a new post tomorrow should anything significant happen. And then this is the next post. I'm sorry for the delay, everyone. We are collecting ourselves. Sorry for any formatting issues. I'm writing this on my phone. Faye's dad picked us up in his truck. He brought his buddy with him, who is now following us in my car. A lot of bad things happened last night. Some things I won't share because I'm not sure how to interpret them. Convenient. Yet I'm not sure I understand what happened, but here are the most important things. I also managed to get some recordings, which I'll try to upload when we get home to California in a few days. Convenient. I tried to stay awake last night until 1 a.m. because over the past few nights, the approximate time the noises changed from rustling branches cracking to voices, I didn't make it. I fell asleep on the couch with my laptop open, waiting for the Wi-Fi to come back. I think this was about 12:30 a.m. I woke up right around 1:15 a.m. to a muffled voice. In my sleepy days, I struggled to figure out where it was coming from. I thought it was outside the living room window, so I sat there quietly trying to make the words out. It was a woman's voice and said things like a few days, it's not mine, I'm not alone, okay.
Nice.
It said lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles. I got up and peeked out the curtains and didn't see anyone, but then the voice said, it's my parents' house, and I knew the voice was Faye's. As I mentioned earlier, my fiance has an undiagnosed sleep disorder and has extensive sleep talk and sometimes sleepwalks. She has had pronounced night terrors since she was a little kid. I'll post a story on that someday. Convenient. I walked into the bedroom to find Faye, sleeping on her tummy as usual. She didn't... This is a grown man.
As usual.
This grown man just said sleeping on her tummy.
I sleep on my tummy. I don't understand what the big deal is.
I sleep on my stomach.
You
I'm a
sleep on
tummy
your
sleeper.
stomach?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
with your feet up in the air?
Yeah.
Going like
How do you have
this?
your feet up in your hair?
I sleep with my legs crossed like this.
Oh
my
yeah,
feet,
and then
yeah.
you
And I'm
do
like-
this.
Yeah, like that.
Do you snore too, where you go like?
Yeah. So he says, I walked into the bedroom to find Faye sleeping on her tummy as usual. She didn't say anything else as I came in. She was sleeping. Oh, well, he meant like sleep talking, right? Two things really disturbed me about the situation, though. The first was that she appeared to be having a conversation with someone, which is actually quite common for her, but the person she was conversing with was interrogating her, asking her questions about herself, me, the cabin, etc. Second, in her sleep, Faye was imitating another voice. It wasn't hers that she was speaking with. She was altering the pitch and tone to sound like a different person. She was doing a Gilbert
Jeff
Gottfried
Dunham.
impression.
Oh, I assumed it was Jeff Dunham. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
the ventriloquist.
My modus operandi is not to wake her up when she has a sleep disturbance. Since there's a story behind this, expect one someday.
Convenient.
Yeah, instead, I gently rub her back and hair, which calms her and puts her back to restful sleep. I did this for a few minutes, but then there was another noise, off in the distance outside. I got up and walked to the window to listen, and I think this was the first time I really felt scared enough that I felt like we were in real danger. It was a child, singing in the dark. I couldn't really make out much of what...
Hello! I'm Gilbert
Gottfried! I couldn't make out much of what she/he was trying to say, but I'm certain that it was a child, probably age 68, 6 to 8, not 68,
That's a 68-year-old kid out there.
trying to sing a song. The snow had abated for a while now, and the song that they were singing was this. We can dance if you want to. We can leave your friends behind.
No,
Because
Jose,
your friends don't dance.
don't be silly. I've got the creepypasta pulled
sorry.
up. What they were singing was, "From the top, make it drop." That's
No,
some wet ass pussy.
Yeah, that's true. I was there.
Kids would sing that. That's a thing.
I,
You were
They
there?
were,
Oh, Ethan was there. Sorry.
they were singing the clean version where that's a wet and
Ass,
gushy.
wet and gushy. Yep.
Wet and gushy.
But I am certain that it was a child, blah, blah, blah. The snow had abated for a while now, and the stars were notably bright, so I could see all the way to the rim of the forest about 20 yards out. There was a figure standing there just past the first trees, back facing me, looking up at either the moon or the tops of the trees. It stood so still that I convinced myself it was a tree stump or something, and in a few minutes it was no longer visible. My skeptical nature compels me to be reasonable and say my eyes were playing tricks on me. When I turned around, Faye was sitting straight up in bed, eyes closed. She does this a lot in her sleep. She craned her neck and said something like, "Don't let them in," or "Don't let him inside." She was still doing the weird voice, so I woke her up.
I can have a girlfriend like that. She'd freak me out. She's like, "I don't let them inside." I'm like, who do I not let them inside? How do I not let them inside?
Faye and I sat in the bedroom with the lights on, talking about what we should do. I tried to get a line and send an email to her parents, but of course it doesn't work when you need it. We agreed to stay in the same room and try to fall back asleep. Why are you not staying in the same
Just
room?
stay awake and keep an eye
Why
out.
don't they got a
Yeah.
gun?
That's the thing.
Well, a gun doesn't kill ghosts.
Oh,
Mine
right.
does.
Rock salt. You put rock salt in the gun. It won't kill it, but it'll hurt it.
Is that a thing?
It's standard ghostology, man. Come
Yeah.
on.
And hollow points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All at once.
And hollow points.
We agree. You got to get a bump stock on it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point, I got up to get her some water. She hadn't vomited in several hours now and was feeling better. And out the kitchen window, I saw flashes of pale light. They weren't like the flashes you'd see when someone walks through the woods with a flashlight. They were more like if someone had a lantern that they could slowly turn on and off. So it's not really a flash then. I flicked on the porch light. Ooh, ooh. It's like this. It would be like,
What I don't understand is, like, if there's a bad thing, like, why don't you just go get them?
Stop flashing that light at me.
I flicked on the porch lights to the front and side of the house, hoping that it would discourage anyone from trying to approach. But as I walked back to the bedroom, I saw the distinct outline of a person through the window curtain in the living room. They were pressed against the glass with their hands on it, trying to peer inside. Since it was dark in the living room and bright outside, I could clearly see the silhouette. And I shouted as I approached the window, but the person ran off before I pulled the curtain open.
Scram, you kids.
And in the silhouette, he saw a big ass dick. And he was like, "Oh my God."
As the person in the window left, all I could see was the imprint of a cock on the window.
Faye slept soundly, but I continued to hear voices outside, different ones, on and off all night until dawn. I wrote several of them down and couldn't sleep, so I camped up in the living room and I kept the bedroom door open so I could hear Faye if she started talking again.
I thought they agreed to stay in the same room.
Hey, shh! You're poking holes in this story that has lots of holes in
Airtight,
it.
otherwise airtight story. Yeah.
The voices would go away for hours and then start back up again. At one point, I fell asleep because I was awoken by the sound of a light switch flicking on and off. From the couch, I could see light from outside going on and off in patterns of 5. I can't explain why this disturbed me so much, but it did.
Because someone's flicking your lights on and off, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, fucking
That's why
dumbass.
it's scary.
But I imagined some kind of horrible creature standing in my house somewhere, flipping the switch up and down and smiling. My first instinct was to check on Faye, and I nearly had a heart attack when I saw that she wasn't in bed. I started calling her name and pacing around the house, looking out the windows to see if she was outside. When I looked out the kitchen window, there she was, sitting on the hood of my car about 30 feet out in the driveway. Her back was to me, and she was staring off into the forest. She was absolutely rigid, just the way she sits up in bed when she's asleep. Faye has sleepwalked all over the house back home in California. I found her in the kitchen and downstairs hallway and the living room, but she's never gone outside. I shouted her name from the kitchen, but the second I did, Faye jumped off my car and dashed into the woods at full sprint. She never looked back at me. I started flipping out and screaming her name over and over. I scrambled to grab my boots to go after her, but the second I pulled the front door open, Faye called out my name from behind. She was standing in the hall, looking confused, asking me what was wrong. Apparently, she had been in the bathroom, and in my masculine crusade, I'd forgotten to check there. I looked out of my car and into the forest, and honestly, the first thought that came to my mind was, you clever motherfucker. Okay, so he shouted all through the house and didn't hear her peeing or pooping or whatever, didn't hear her in the bathroom, and then she didn't hear him enough to be like, hey, I'm in the fucking bathroom. Like,
I'm taking a shit.
I'm dropping a fucking dookie. Like, what?
Yeah, no, don't think about it.
Needless to say, we stayed up the remaining few hours until dawn, intermittently writing down the voices we heard, which faded away and became less frequent with the passage of time. I'll try to get the recordings up in a few days. For now, here's a list of voices we heard. We recalled some of the voices from the previous night from memory, but I just figured you'd like to know what was being said throughout the duration of this lovely cabin experience.
I got a wet-ass pussy. That was one of the voices.
I will return to Colorado, but fuck Pikes Peak. The question marks indicate the words that were very unclear. Okay. A man's voice, vaguely familiar, but couldn't put a face over it, the past several nights. Hello! Oh, God, look at it! Look, hello! Don't! I see in the dark! I'm lost! This is so...
Yeah, this is
What you? Wool my! It's very dark! I see those lights! I'll come down there! Don't smile! I see you! That's Gilbert Gottfried, in case you didn't know who that is.
Yeah, I was with it.
Well, I was there, and that's exactly what it sounded like.
A woman's voice sounded age 20-ish last night. There was a gasp in horror / surprise over and over. Oh boy! Oh. Lay it on the ground and burn it / turn it.
Lay it on the ground. Oh, burn it. Turn it. Oh.
That makes it
La
worse.
la la la. No, sorry. It's la 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 la. Monotone, not melodic at all. She talks in her sleep. She's talking to me now. Threatening, malicious voice. A child sounded about 6 to 8 years old. Indeterminate sex last night. Crying / whining. Occasional laughter. Oh, soul me, do. Why do I do? Eat. I am a vacant, naked soul. Me, I do.
Soul.
Singing, not sure if this is actually English or if my mind is just forcing the sounds into English. When do we go inside? Very unusual intonation, sounded like a robot trying to mimic a child.
Daddy, when do we go inside?
Voice of my mother a few nights ago. Stop! Laughing, joking.
Clean your fucking room.
Laughing, joking. She has a recognizable Boston accent. Look at the windows. Did you see it? Voice of Faye's grandfather a few nights ago. Lots of indiscernible groaning, calls for help, moaning as if ejaculating. Nah, I just added that last bit. Oh, shit!
Oh, haven't been drained like that since 1992.
Something about the war. There's bodies still in the ground there. Never found them. But they're here. Right here. Ooh, they found it. Aw, I'm standing in the same place 20 years. By the way, I forgot to check if the Dreamcatcher was still there out back. You're welcome to drive out there and look for yourself, though.
Oh, yeah.
I will not be doing that.
I'll do it. Let's go. All three of us.
Oh, you gotta go?
You two jump in a car, drive over and pick me up, and then I'll go down.
I'll go drive by right now real quick.
So Ethan's gonna go check it out.
Yeah.
And he'll let us know what he
I'll
sees.
let you know.
Thank you to Ethan for being on the podcast. He unfortunately has to go, but we were glad to have him on again. Maybe we can do another episode in the future.
Yeah.
Not as long that you can stay for.
No, I feel bad because, first of all, I was late.
No, it's all
Second of
right.
I was like, no, it's totally fine, bro. We could do it. And then I have to go back to school.
He's not dedicated. So
He's
he
just
also
not-
does have to drive like an hour or 2 hours.
Well, to be fair, Jose and I are just built different. So
That's the thing.
that's why we can do it. We're just built different.
So
Well, it's crazy because like if you guys were built different, then you could just leave and just the episode would be unfinished.
Yeah, we
and
can,
That's
but
not like
we're-
any other podcast.
we
so it's just
we
like,
have dedication to craft because we're
Yeah.
built.
Oh
different, so.
yeah, I mean that's cool, but like also could you not have dedicated? That takes something. I'm built different.
to not
than
have
you two.
dedication does kind of take dedication.
Yeah. Just
So-
leave the episode right here. Then we'll
All right, everybody, we'll see you guys.
All right, thank you.
But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming on, Ethan.
I did not say very much.
No, you said
It
enough.
was nice meeting you.
So
Cash App, I need a 240 SX. $9. Thank you very much.
So that night we sat down with Faye's mom, Laura, in her bedroom while her dad was watching the news downstairs. Her mom was so upset at the stories we told her. I mean, she was visibly disturbed to the point of being in tears. I got out of breath coming down the stairs. She kept apologizing to Faye and hugging her. Laura told us that they'd purchased the cabin from their good friend, Jennifer, I think, who moved to Nevada about 20 years ago, and that Jennifer and her husband had complained about all sorts of weird experiences while living there. Her husband, Tom, like myself, was fond of hiking and exploring the woods and collected tons of arrowheads and other neat trinkets he found on his travels around Pikes Peak. But Jennifer started having dreams about Tom being dragged off into the woods from their bedroom. She had all kinds of horrific nightmares about him being skinned and pinned up in the trees like some kind of macabre artwork. Jennifer said that while Tom was at work, she would occasionally hear the voice of her daughter, who died in childhood of some kind of bone cancer, calling Mommy from the edge of the forest. Jennifer's doctors claimed it was the medication she was on and changed her meds. Tom got a new job in Vegas and, okay, let me get out of here. And they basically noped out of there. On a lighter note, Tom hanged himself in the garage 2 years after they moved. No note or anything.
Oh, good.
Anyway, Laura, Faye's mom. Why did he say on a lighter note? Fucking asshole. Anyway, Laura, Faye's mom, and Greg, Faye's dad, only used the cabin as a getaway in summers. Laura never experienced anything beyond weird feelings while she was there, and she chalked that up to all of the crazy stories Jennifer had told her. Greg, however, who suffers from PTSD-related nightmares occasionally, experienced exacerbated sleep disturbances in the cabin. Over the years, he became reluctant to go there and claimed that all the things he'd seen in Vietnam came back to him when he slept there. Fucking Nam. Allegedly, some
Fucking Nom! That's what happened.
down on the corner.
United States.
Allegedly, some of the people he saw get killed would come back to talk to him in his dreams at that cabin. The last time he stayed there, he woke up in a dream to find a few of them sitting in his bedroom with him, maimed, rotted, etc. He privately maintained to Laura that he also heard the voices in the forest, crying, begging, screaming for their mothers. Oh, and guess what time he always heard them? Laura told us that she honestly did not believe there was anything really wrong with the cabin. Faye was extremely pissed and let her have it. They kind of ended our visit on a bad note. Later that night, I was up reading, and Faye was sleeping next to me. She always falls asleep before me. The girl could fall asleep on a pile of rocks. She started mumbling in her sleep, so I listened carefully and heard a few things I heard her say. Never, never, never. No, I wouldn't. On the mountain. I can't. Why? His name? We don't know you. No, it's Felix. My name. Not my name. The guy who wrote the story's name.
Felix's name. Felix
Right.
is writing the story.
Right. About 2 hours later, she woke up by nudging me in her sleep and saying, "Tell the man in the hall to leave." This set me over the edge. So I got to go to the bathroom and get some water. What a weird way to write that. I didn't find anything strange. I had a very hard time falling asleep, though. The morning we heard back from the guy who went up to the cabin to check it for gas leaks / carbon monoxide at the behest of a few scrupulous Redditors. The guy mentioned that radon is a really big problem in some of these old places in the mountain. He's some kind of super badass handyman with all kinds of equipment, so he wrangled up one of the peak rangers and they went up to the place together. Apparently there were tracks all over the house, a dozen pairs of them, like a large group of people had been wandering around looking in the windows. All the windows and doors were sealed the way we left them. When they got inside, some stuff was moved around. The silverware drawer was emptied into the kitchen floor and turned upside down. The power was completely dead. The weirdest thing was that there was water all over the bed and on the floor, but our guy checked for leaks in the ceiling and the bathroom pipes. Nothing has been stolen from the house, not even food. Some of the old clothes in the bedroom closet were strewn on the ground, but nothing stolen. Like maybe someone was trying them on / smelling them. The ranger
Nice.
the ranger said there were legends about the mountain, something about things that sort of act like people, but they come out of old abandoned mines. Greg's friend couldn't remember the name the ranger gave them. It was in a native language. I asked Greg to ask the ranger about the sounds I heard, specifically the wachu wachu wol my, and he said it's a widely recognized chant, but he doesn't know what it means. Anyone here have any idea? No radon, no carbon monoxide, and no gas. The place is all electric. He checked for mold, but said it was unlikely that there would be any all the way up there. He did say it's possible that there's some kind of electrical problem, and that this can sometimes cause people to feel very unsettled and maybe have hallucinations.
I've heard that, you know, how lights stop working and then you're like, oh my God, my grandpa's here.
Oh my God, Mason, I think my grandmother who died in 1998 is in the room with me.
I can see
Get the
her.
fuck out of here. And then she actually is.
See, look, you turn the computer. She's like, hello.
Hello.
All right, that's enough, Grandma.
Yeah, some kind of Geiger counter or a gadget that detects issues like this, but it was broken when he tried to use it. I'm going to keep a close eye on Faye. She's still shaking up about all this. If there's anything left to report, I'll let you know. Update 4/21/2016. We have begun hearing voices outside of our home. Faye is really upset and feels that I might have exacerbated these strange circumstances by giving them widespread exposure. Did my lights just flicker?
No, I didn't see anything.
Fucking weird. Faye is really upset and feels that I might have exacerbated these strange circumstances by giving them widespread exposure online. I'm gonna go dark for a few days and see if that helps.
That's
You know
true.
how ghosts.
You know how ghosts are like, I saw you
on
posting
Reddit?
about on the about
of
me
a
on the
bitch.
internet, you bitch.
Oh shit! Okay, my bad.
Hey, saw you were talking shit online, motherfucker. What's up now? We followed you to your house. Fucking bitch.
We heard you said some very bad things about K-pop on your fucking Reddit post, you asshole. It's over now.
It's us, K-pop stands. We've come to suck your blood.
I'm going dark for a few days to see if that helps. Don't worry about us. We have a few close friends looking out for us. They know the entire story. But he wrote store instead of story. They know the entire story.
It's to add to the realism, Jose.
I'm going to stop after this page, but and if people want to read the rest of the story, they can go. I'll include a link because there's a couple more pages and just time-wise. But he says, "Hi, everyone. I just want to make a quick update. As promised, because Faye and I are flying back to California shortly, Faye is back to normal, feeling great. I watched her eat a huge plate of chicken parmesan yesterday. You know how that's how you measure if somebody's okay?
It's true. That is
they're
the
able
amount of chicken parmesan they can eat.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. One time a buddy of mine only ate a quarter chicken parmesan. They died right afterwards.
The first thing I should mention is that Faye's father was very reluctant to talk about the cabin or the weird experiences we'd had there. He kept trying to change the subject, and he was generally
because he doesn't believe in ghosts.
I fucking fought in Vietnam, and I didn't fight for this bullshit. That's which is pretty normal for him. He's a really grumbly Vietnam vet and has been in the army since he was young. His personality is exactly the way you'd imagine. Faye asked him bluntly if something is wrong with that cabin. Why would you let us go up there in the first place? And his response was, talk to your mother. So we'll stop that one there. If you'd like to hear how that turns out, there's about like 7 more pages. You can go, I'll include the link and you can go read it. And if you guys really want us to read it badly, we will do a whole episode on it. Yeah, so this is a creepypasta that was chosen by the listeners. And it's the Russian sleep experiment. It's a pretty popular one. I've actually never read it though.
This is the only one that I've actually knew. I actually was gonna bring this one in, but then our readers picked it anyway. So you know, I mean,
start it off, Mason.
The story of the Russian sleep experiment. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They just ate a lot of beans, you know what I'm saying? That was a fart joke.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mason Schrader.
They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed-circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and a 5-inch thick glass, porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep, but no bedding, running water, and toilet. Running water and toilet. It just says toilet.
And toilet.
And enough dried food to last all 5 of them for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II.
As it should be. I'll take this next paragraph.
Yeah.
Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took a darker aspect after the 4-day mark.
After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones. They started whispering to the microphones in the one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them, right. At first, the researchers suspected this was the effect of the gas itself.
After 9 days...
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me, prisoner number 4.
Yes?
Hey, I just wanted to let you know that, that Frank keeps jerking off to pictures of feet.
That is strange. I don't think that's...
So I'm going to win, right? Because I told you?
It's not really a contest.
Oh, you don't like that enough? Okay, well, Ben keeps putting his butt on Timmy's pillow. So I'm going to win, right? You're going to make me win, right?
I mean, that's, again, not very strange.
Yeah. Hey!
What?
Hey, it's me,
yes,
Frank.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I heard Joey told you I like to jerk off to feet, but did you know that Joey likes to eat his own fingernails?
So I think, if anything, this experiment is just proving that we got a bunch of fucking weird-ass people. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going to win, right? Because I told you about Joey's fingernails,
right? I don't
right?
know who told you guys that it's a competition. It's not.
This is Survivor,
right? We're torturing
right?
you. We're just here to torture you and watch you die slowly.
I vote off Ted.
No, so
I
it's
think
not an island.
Ted's got to leave the island.
No, so it...
My vote, it's me, Frank, again. No, it was already Frank. It's me, Ted. I'm back. We also vote. I voted for Jim. I voted for Jimmy off because he's not
just
playing
gas
the
them.
game.
Gas the entire chamber.
Right.
Yep, just do it. Just gas the entire chamber. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks.
Hey, Frank started screaming.
Yes, we know. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it, or rather didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly started. So did the whispering to the microphones. Hey, what the hell are they doing? What the...
Hey.
Are they smearing that on with Nutella? What is that?
Ted and I started wiping our asses with the books, and now we're putting them on the windows. So we're gonna win, right? We started... We have an alliance. We're called the Shit Book Boys. We're gonna win. We're gonna fucking win Survivor, baby.
This is just a college job. This is just for graduate school. I'm just...
Okay, so the screaming promptly stops, and so did the whispering into the microphones. I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you later. All right, 3 more days passed. The researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were
just
working.
doing ASMR. Just early day ASMR.
This is what it sounds like to wipe your ass with a book and then post it on a window. Yeah, that's some good shit rubbing, Timmy. Ah. All right, so after 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were still working. Since they thought that it was impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. However, the oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise was being used. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captive, as they were afraid they were either dead or vegetables. They announced, "We are going to open the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor." Oh, step away from the rhymes. "Or you will be shot. Compliance will earn you one of your Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom."
To their surprise, they heard a single phrase in a calm voice response. "We no longer want to be freed." Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day.
The chamber was flushed out of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately the voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened, and the soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside.
They just shit all over the place.
Well, they already knew that.
Yeah.
They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive.
It was Little Caesar's pizza. Just a single box of Little Caesar's pizza opened.
"We've turned into Little Caesars."
Oh my God! They've chosen to have the shittiest pizza they can get. They got Little Caesars.
Hot and ready.
You will be hot and ready like us too, comrade.
Comrade Caesar. Okay. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state of any of them life.
Mm-hmm.
The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched, and there were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chest stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber.
Wait, one of them died? When?
Well, remember they put all the shit-smeared windows up, and then the screaming stopped? I'd assume they must have killed one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so chunks of meat were stuffed into the subject's thighs and chest were stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of the flesh had exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with the teeth, as the researchers initially thought that they would be the teeth.
Yep.
Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted.
The abdominal organs below the rib cage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the rib cage. All the blood vessels and organs all the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. This is the guy they killed, right?
No, this is the live ones. Their guts are spilling out on the floor, and they're just like, "Hey."
Oh yeah, fuck. Oh Jesus Christ.
Can you not? You're careful. You're stepping on my small intestines. Actually, could you just take?
Ow! You're on my lungs. Ow,
really
ow.
hurts. Doesn't feel good. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh my God! The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days.
There is certainly nothing wrong with eating your own body. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with eating yourself.
There's something wrong with you if you're doing that, though. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. Fucking shoot them. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber. An alternative. How are you going to be special operative soldiers and you're doing much worse if you're a soldier, but
Especially
you're seeing this
Russian soldier
right,
post World
but
War
you're
II.
seeing this and you're like, no way, I'm not going in there. Fuck that. Like, no, you aren't. They continued to be screamed to be left in the chamber and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on, lest they fall asleep.
To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. They started whipping their intestines at the soldiers, and I mean, yeah.
I
mean, so that was a joke. They didn't say that, but how do you fight with your guts spilled out on the floor?
You're going like this. You're like,
hold on. You're like, as they're like packing it all up.
Stop.
In there.
Get the bag from me. I'll fight. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, so one of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured.
From a guy whose fucking lungs and vital organs are just hanging out?
Okay, let's get you out of here.
Oh my fucking God.
Another was gravely injured by having his... Another was gravely injured by having his...
come here, big boy.
Man, his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. I thought he was going to blow me, and then he just bit my nuts off.
He said, come here, big boy, you want a blowjob? And I said, hey, I'm kind of tired. Sure, why not? And then he ripped out my fucking testicles.
Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives if you count the ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured, and he bled out almost immediately. The medical
That's what did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't removing his vital organs, it was his spleen.
Yeah, I was fine with my guts on the floor, but once you ruptured my spleen,
oh my God, I died.
The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of morphine derivative and still fought like a cornered animal.
Breaking
the ribs of an arm of one of the doctors. When heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he bled out, to the point there was more air in his vascular system than blood.
They just fucking forgot how to write at this point. When heart was beating, blood not go.
Air more than blood gone. Even after it stopped, so even after his heart stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes.
Jesus,
struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word "more" over and over.
Like Kylo fucking Ren. More!
More!
Oh my God.
More. Until he finally fell silent.
Oh my God. The surviving 3 subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility. The 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given to him to prepare him for the surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well, or even through. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had triple the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force his own muscles had exerted on them. Jesus Christ.
This is just okay. The second survivor had been the first of the group of the 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to surgery. He only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval. Mm-mm.
I don't wanna. I don't
want it.
wanna. They're feeding him peas and carrots, and he's like,
Yeah, so he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval.
That's the episode of Caillou none of you watched.
When the anesthetic gas was brought near him, he shook his head yes when someone suggested, reluctantly, that they try the surgery without anesthetic. He did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. That it should be, Persisting stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met her. Oh, that's just like a meet cute. That's like love at first sight.
He was just like, I really thought nurse was very cute.
Like getting his intestines wrapped back around, and he's like, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up,
when the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and a pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. What is he trying to say? What?
It appears he's writing WAP? What the fuck does that mean?
He's got the wet ass pussy, which isn't true because I've been down when I was putting his testicles back up in his sack.
I have to say,
it wasn't wet, not a little bit.
He's a liar. That's what I'll tell you right now about this guy.
All right, so all he wrote on the message was simple: keep cutting.
That's fucking punk rock.
That's pretty sick.
The 2 other test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well, although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. Just kill these guys.
Yeah,
Just shoot them
weird.
in the head. Why?
Yeah.
The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Oh yeah, this tickles. Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they had wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given. I must remain awake.
All 3 of the subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goal of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, a former KGB agent, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious at this point all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might. First left, then right, then left again for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired for the EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brain waves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined. Inexplicably, it looked as if he were repeatedly suffering from brain death before returning to normal.
Brain death. Bad name right there. Brain death.
Oh, that's a good name. Brain death.
Right?
Almost as good as Porn Kills Love.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, brain death before turning to normal. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut. At that same moment, his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of a deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time, and his heart simultaneously stopped.
The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwave showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes. Wait. One of the researchers?
I must have, yeah. I'm one of the. So there are 3 researchers who I guess they were like, you know what, we should try. What if we put 3 more people in this gas continuously?
Right.
And that guy was like, go fuck yourself, and shot the guy.
Right. Point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He pointed his gun at the remaining subjects, still restrained, to a bed as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things. Not with you, he screamed at the man who was strapped to the table. What are you? He demanded. I must know. The subject smiled and said,
Have you
Frog.
Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night.
This guy's a fucking writer.
We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis. Paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread.
We are a film major, he said.
We are the Village Green Preservation Society. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free.
Woo! That was some crazy shit, actually. I never read that one.
Oh my god, it's got a thing underneath it that says the movie. We still await a day we see this classic creepypasta turned into a Russian sleep experiment movie.
No, thank you. So had you read this one before?
I have, yes. I mean, a long time ago, so I didn't really remember a whole lot of it, but I remembered vaguely.
It was fun, I guess. Now we should hold our own sleeper experiment and see how...
that's true. We'll just die, though, because...
Well, yeah, but we can
just
still
do cocaine till our heart explodes.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It's a pretty good one. I don't really understand, like, what they were.
They were just people who stayed awake. It's the same like idea as the one that you shared, where it was like to see how long until they talk to God. It's like there seems to be this idea with people that, and you hear it a lot with people who do shrooms a lot. In my experience, that they're always like, "Oh man, you enter a different plane, like you enter a different existence." So I think it's like this whole idea that like if you were to stay awake long enough and you go like your brain goes through this deprivation, you're suddenly made aware of this higher thing. But I think it's just lunacy because your brain cannot stay awake for so long. So
because you can't handle not having any stimulus whatsoever, and you can't handle staying awake for 15 days.
It's almost like it's a dependency to a drug.
Like psychosis.
Yeah.
It's almost like you've gone crazy and say things like pull your guts out. And,
I don't think me not sleeping for 2 weeks is going to lead to me fucking seeing God. I don't think God is going to be like, hey, you made it, pal.
You did it.
Did it.
Dude, Jose, new high score, 16 days, got to see God. Congratulations, bro.
Let's put that on the leaderboard. Come on, everybody. What do you want your initials to say?
Can we get it up there? Well, we only have 3 letters, so
you got to choose. And I'm like,
ass is already taking.
Ass is
so
taking.
Is P.
WAP
is free, though. WAP is free, though. That's a good one.
WAP. What does that stand for again? Can you remind me?
I'm just kidding. I'm God. I know. It's a wet-ass pussy. That's job, bro.
I created those. Anyway. Yeah. With that, it's time to wrap the show up, Mason. If you like the show, make sure to leave a 5-star review, which you can do in app. We'd really appreciate it. Plus, it really helps the show.
He's fucking God. Just rate us.
And we'll read your review on the show, just like we're going to do with Cheeky to the Breakies 5-star review, who writes, "Get Ethan on the podcast." Holy shit, Cheeky to the Breaky. He's gone now, but he was on the podcast. So
and he was here.
He was definitely here.
I liked him. He was great.
He's a fun guy, I think. You can support this.
Fun guy.
You can support that. He's dead now. I killed him. Sorry, I should have said that. You can support the
Happy
show.
Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Woo! For this episode, we murdered a man live on the podcast.
We did off of it, but
off the air. Sorry, yeah.
But while the podcast was
while
happening.
the podcast was going. You could. I didn't want to get blood on in my room, so you can support the show by going to patreon.com/captainslogcast and donate $1, or similarly, you can also help donate whatever amount you like on Venmo by Venmoing J-Via27. Anything helps keep the lights on. Remember, if you donate, it all goes towards improving the show, getting better recording equipment. For instance, if people still want to see us do a video format, then it would go towards getting better recording equipment for video. And
it'd go towards Mason getting like a thing that keeps that the reflection of his screen out of his eyes.
You just gotta have a backlight me, because if I turn off my backlight, then it's.
I've got a backlight, but I don't think backlight's gonna stop this.
A side light. You gotta do triangle, 3-point lighting. Mason, you wouldn't know what that is. You wouldn't know what 3-point lighting is.
Yeah. I just need to keep my camera needs to be here, but my screen needs to be here.
Right. Maybe that's why, because mine's not directly on me. We will plug all of Ethan's social media and stuff because he didn't have a chance to do it. We'll plug it in the show notes.
Here's my little butthole eyes, my tiny little eyes that you can't see.
You know how in a cartoon when they take off their glasses, they have tiny eyes. You are the actual embodiment
of
that.
Milhouse from The Simpsons. Yes, where he takes off.
Mason, where can people find you?
You can find me under a bridge somewhere, but only if you follow the clues I've left.
What are the clues?
Well, you got to find the clues.
Oh.
The first clue is on my Twitter at Mason Schrader.
Hey, good. That was good. Way to go. Mason's at 13 followers. We want to get him to 20.
I'm not gonna start tweeting.
You gotta get on it, at least to retweet our stuff. If we want this to grow, you have to have a social media presence. We need to get you an Instagram. We need to get you a Twitter, a OnlyFans, public Snapchat.
I've got an OnlyFans. It's just private.
Don't you want to make money?
I will tweet if I get 25 followers. I'll tweet. I'll tell you what. If you follow me, you can DM me something, and I might tweet it depending on what it is.
Okay. You can follow me on Instagram at j.via_junior and the show on Twitter and Instagram at Captain's Log Pod, because we now have an Instagram page. We'll post cute little pictures, photo shoots that me and Mason have done, all the appropriate ones that we can post on Instagram, the safer work.
The other ones are going to go on OnlyFans.
On our OnlyFans. It's called Captain's Log,
but it's like a log, like a penis, like a log. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Captain's
also,
Log
Mason,
Dick.
My name is Mason Schrader, SHR, not SCH. CHs are for assholes.
It's CH, you said?
It's not. It's SHR.
CH, right? Okay.
Schrader.
So we recommend various different materials on our Twitter. Post show updates on our Twitter and Instagram. Post some occasionally funny things behind the scenes of this episode and other episodes or whatever. So go check it out. You can also subscribe on YouTube, where you can find me as Jose Valle Jr., Animal Productions, and of course the show's official YouTube channel, Captain's Log, which we will get updated before this episode has premiered, so that this episode can go on there in video format.
Right.
Make sure to tell your friends and family about the show if you enjoy it, and if you'd like to tell us about how we missed a bunch of details about a certain story, or if you're thinking of writing your own creepypasta with lots of plot holes in it, send it our way and we will read it on here for you.
Make sure to subscribe and download on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play,
and any other podcast directory. Right into captainslogcast@gmail.com is what I was going to say. Sorry, I was looking for something that hasn't come through yet. Thanks to Carlos Rivera for composing the show's theme. And with that, everybody, we have reached the end of our show. We'll see you soon for another special episode in 2 weeks. I've been your captain, Jose Valle Jr., joined by
First Officer Mason Trader.
And this has been Captain's Log. End of transmission.
Pew, boop, 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 boop.